number one is screen her. So us women, we manipulate men to get what we want from them all the time. It's in our nature, and most of you guys have no clue about this whatsoever. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact same tools that us girls use on you so that you can manipulate us women back. So most importantly, you can make younger women wildly attracted to you and even obsessed with you, even when you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. But you have to promise me this. You have to use this to make a great girl your devoted, loving girlfriend, and not use this for evil or just to sleep with girls who you don't really like, apart from her beauty and the sex, because that could potentially backfire on you. And also, I don't want to help you do that. So to trigger this level of obsession, you have to stop being the one who is chosen, and you have to start becoming the one who chooses. Okay, you need to screen her for her hobbies and interests, character, etc., etc. So why? Well, I'm a former runway model with 2 degrees, and I'm the boss of a bunch of other models who we've trained up to be men's dating coaches. And I can tell you, there is nothing worse than having a guy just throwing themselves at you when they don't know the first thing about you apart from the way you look. I'll explain in about 20 minutes or so how you can go on a Zoom date with me and get expert feedback on everything you're doing right and wrong, and exactly what you need to do step by step to improve dramatically. So where was I? We want to be valued for more than just our looks. This is really, really important. So you need to be able to connect with us in an authentic way around our hobbies and interests, or philosophies, or deeper values and beliefs, and not just throw yourselves at us based on how we look because you think we're hot, right? So for example, for me, surfing is a huge part of my life, but other than that, I'm also interested in I'm a paraglider. I love travel, yoga, Chinese medicine, just a few things I'm really interested in. So if a guy is not showing any interest in those things whatsoever, and still wants to be, wants to be chasing me, or wants to be trying to date me, then I know that he's probably just thinks I'm hot or something. If he doesn't align with me around any of my interests or values, then it's just a very superficial interaction, and women can see through that straight away. So, surfing, as I said, is a huge one for me. I pretty much wouldn't date a guy who's not a surfer because it is such a big part of my life. But a lot of women will be the same, whether it's her religious beliefs or, her biggest hobbies and interests, just her lifestyle. If you aren't able to have, fit in with that, or at least show some sort of interest around those things, then she knows that you're just talking to her because you think she's hot, and, that's all you really care about, which is going to make her not want to be with you. So, if you guys have any questions around anything that's come up today, put them in the chat. Say hi if you're new here. I can see we've already got a couple of people who are some regulars. Martin, always great to see you. Wayne, hello. Steve. We're here to serve you. So any questions that come up with the content tonight, please chuck them in the chat. Hey, James.
Hey, Tess, how you doing? Anything else you want to talk about before I go?
No, let's jump into screening her. So this is about you actually having standards, not just taking what you get. When she knows you have standards, that's going to make you look a lot more attractive. James, I'll let you get started.
Yeah, Tess talked about manipulating women, and they manipulate us. I don't necessarily do this to manipulate them, but one of the best ways to manipulate women is to make them think that just what they look like is not enough for you to be interested in talking to them, dating them, sleeping them. It hits a tripwire or something in their brain. It just drives them nuts, especially the most beautiful girls, or especially the young ones you might think you're not really entitled to. So Tess has probably covered this: hobbies, interests, her character. I once went on a date with a really attractive girl from Argentina, but she absolutely hated every single American, like they were all responsible for whatever Bush's foreign policy or something. So yeah, I just sort of walked out on the date because didn't want anything to do with that. You got to have standards. You got to have standards. Most men just don't have standards if you put a pretty girl in front of them. An extreme example of that was in a recent boot camp where we had like a celebrity psychiatrist. We had a guy who was a very early stage founder of a tech company you've probably all heard of. That's probably, I don't know, the company's probably worth 100 billion or something. Not him, the company he worked for. And then we had one of the hottest guys you could ever imagine, for a guy who's like late 40s. He was an amazing guy too. It's like, as long as she's pretty and she's not a bitch, and yeah, I can sort of work in with her hobbies and interests. It was just, these guys were all just so lame. Maybe I'll give you my number one screening question. Tell me the last great book you read. Tess, give me your perspective on guys not having standards around you where just your appearance is enough to sort of get them very interested in you. Talk more about that.
Well, it just makes them seem really pathetic and needy. If a guy is just putting you on a pedestal because of the way you look, it kind of dictates that they don't really have much going on in their lives. If a guy is legitimately a high value guy, or he has a high level of self-esteem, he's not going to be just putting a woman on a pedestal like that when he knows nothing about her. Like, he's got his own things going on in his life. He knows what's important to him. He knows the value that he holds. So he doesn't have to do that with women. So when guys are doing that, you're really devaluing yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. We seem to have a few comments. Love the support there. We'll get to them probably at the end of this point. I think we might even have a couple of good questions coming through. That's awesome. So yeah, I just can't stress this enough how important it is. Don't just want a woman because she looks good. Can you imagine if you're a wealthy guy, and quite a few of our clients are, and the only thing the only reason she's on a date with you or talking to you is because she knows you've got money. She doesn't really, there's no connection on interest or anything. Now, you're a man, you might still have sex with her if she's attractive. You probably will. But yeah, it's just not going to be the same level of attraction as if, you guys met on one of your hobbies and interests or something. It's nowhere near. Our entire system, our entire conversation structure, our entire seduction method is based upon you screening women to see if they're a suitable long-term mate for you, and using the investigation into whether she's a suitable long-term mate to build rapport, and also sort out the girls who will be easy for you to seduce and date. I mean, if you've got one or two major things in common with a girl, you'll find it so much easier to get her out on a date. It's so much easier for that date to go well. The conversation just flows easily. It's much more likely to lead to sex. It's much more likely to lead to ongoing sex and less flaking, less friend zone, everything. Because what women are generally wanting in almost every interaction is they're wondering whether it's worth dating you longer term. So I mean, we use the word manipulate, which is true, but it's just like you're sort of manipulating the situation and what's actually true to let the girl see that you're not just a body to me. You're not just the first thing I've had in 6 months or a year. I really value you for something other than your physical appearance. Anything you want to add to that, or any questions on that, guys? Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Wayne. We'll get to questions in a second. Tess, I mean, as I said, you're a catwalk model. Just tell us what it's like when some guy's just throwing themselves at you and you've got nothing in common. He hasn't asked you any questions. Just how, I mean, I think you've talked about that's quite offensive almost.
Yeah, and it's especially when they're just doing weird pickup artist stuff or being like, hey, can I buy you a drink straight away or whatever. It's just obvious that they the way they're valuing you is completely superficial, and they're not even interested in trying to get beyond that level and actually connecting with you. So it just makes you feel like a piece of meat, or like you just feel very objectified as a woman. and it makes the guy look like an idiot. Like, it's like, who is this guy? He's just so surface level. So it's just really unattractive. It's horrible. It's a really horrible way to create a first impression with a woman that you've never met before. Yeah, so don't do that.
And what Tess just said is what pretty much every guy does. You know, hot girl, some level younger than you, and you guys just start drooling and, oh yeah, my BMW and my promotion and my last holiday and I live in this suburb. So yeah, just don't do that. It's so bad. It is so bad. It is so profoundly bad. We might move on to the second point, and then we'll get into the we'll get into the stuff from there. Ghost her a little bit. This is sort of a clever way of saying don't be available the whole time. Don't be available the whole time. This is a game in female psychology, and don't get me wrong, and make no mistake, dating is a game. Women see this as a game that they're playing with you, in part just to find the high value men they want. Men compete as men compete at business or boxing or jiu-jitsu or basketball or baseball or sailing or golf, or who's the best painter or who's the best guitar player, or who's got the best band, or whatever the hell you're into, who's the best scientist, engineer, whatever the hell you're into. We compete with other men to get status. We want to move up the status hierarchy. Very politically incorrect, but some female authors have talked about this. Women compete with women for the best men. So yeah, if you're just constantly available, as soon as she texts you, she can see you there, you're replying to her. She never has to wait any period of time to hear back from you. It's just like, has this guy really got a life? And one of the great ironies is we coach a lot of very successful guys, including a lot of quite rich, very rich guys, a couple of billionaires over the whole period I've coached. And yeah, so many of you guys, you'll get like an attractive girl and you just drop everything. You drop your 50 staff or your busy career. Oh, she texted me. Oh, she's available on Tuesday. I'll move these meetings around, or I'll move my whatever basketball around to see her. So you can't always be available. One thing I do, like professionally, is I'm not set up for this now because I'm moving around a bit, but when I've got a proper office, I will virtually never open WhatsApp, let alone iMessage, until like 6 or 7 p.m. Even some days I'll go to bed without actually opening it. And there'll be girls who'll text me, they'll be like, he hasn't opened it, he hasn't checked it, he's finally opened it, he hasn't got back to me. And a friend of mine who's one of the top male models, who obviously had certain advantages with women the rest of us don't, he said that they want to wait, they want to feel the pain, they want to know whether you're going to text back. That's part of what they love about this whole romance seduction thing. And I'm sure if I watched enough romantic movies, there'd be a bunch of girls just waiting on the phone to ring, or the text message beep to go off. So you've got to ghost her a bit. I don't mean be a manipulative prick about this, but yeah, just don't be available all day. And there's been instances where girls have messaged me, and I have been on WhatsApp because I've been trying to sort out food, or maybe deal with clients who I shouldn't be dealing with on WhatsApp, but I won't go into that now. And they're like, he's clearly checking messages. Why isn't he checking mine? Did my breath stink? Am I too old or fat for him? That they start thinking, and then so the dating is a game. Dating is a game. Dating is a game. You got to learn to play it. Tess, do you want to give your perspective on guys who are always available?
Yeah, it's just if you're constantly instigating texting, or you're responding straight away, you're at her beck and call at all hours of the day, what you're doing is you're basically just giving her power in the relationship. She knows where she stands in your life, and that's up here. You put her on the pedestal. So she knows how much she can manipulate you at that stage, but she also knows that you're potentially quite pathetic or desperate, right? You're not just a guy who's spoiled for choice and actually has a lot going on in his life, where he's busy and he can't be on his phone all day. He's got people to see, places to be, etc. He's got hobbies and interests and passions and things that he's passionate about in his own life. So that, again, you're just devaluing yourself when you're constantly at her beck and call. And there is, in the early stages of dating, this sort of dynamic is really important. You kind of set the standard for how things will look moving into your relationship. So, you know, a woman can lose interest immediately if she thinks, okay, this guy's got nothing else going on in his life. Like, he's not a desirable person. Therefore, you know, she'll kind of, that's what it equates to her. So she might just be like, okay, no, I don't want to talk to him anymore. And she'll just ghost you completely. So this is a fine line here. It's like, you know, cat and mouse a little bit. You know, she's going to be playing a bit of this game as well. So sometimes if you're too distant, again, she'll be like, oh, he has no interest, so I'm not going to give him any of my time either. That, you know, you have to find that balance here. But yeah, it's good to sort of be aware of, you know, her level of responsiveness, and try to like mirror that, or if not, be a little bit more distant, just to, you know, shift that power dynamic a little bit.
It's so important because you get to the point. There was a girl recently where I just was too busy. It wasn't necessarily manipulative. It's just I didn't have time to message her back. And she started going nuts on me. She'd like double and triple text me. And as soon as I messaged her, she'd be straight back to me and just giving away, if you like, so much power. As Tess very capably said, dating is a game. It's a game. You got to learn to play it. Women do, and so many of their movies and TV shows and books are about playing the game of dating. Most of them, actually, whereas us men have no clue about it. Hence the existence of Social Coach and James and Tess and Natalia and Val and all that. So I think Tess, at the start of the night, you get an opportunity to literally go on a date with this former catwalk model, absolutely gun dating coach. So what would that look like? I'm just going to have to fix this up because I'm kind of useless. So yeah, to go on a date with Tess, that's her there, catwalk model. And yeah, she's the boss of these girls and a bunch of others who most of you would think are extremely attractive. And that's the community of guys we change lives. We just change lives 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, what you can do tomorrow, and I think Tuesday, I need to check Tessa's calendar, is you'll get to go on a date and get a date audit from her. And it's basically you go on a date, you get feedback. And yeah, the goal is to identify and eliminate any mistakes you're making, anything that's held you back your whole life. Tessa's number one job is to let you do some approaches, let you show your dating skills, and figure out what are the top few things that are holding you back. We're going to give you enough insight into approaching, into conversation structures, into how not to run out of things to say, whereby just based on this alone, if you do a half-assed job of implementing, you're going to easily beat 95% of guys, which isn't hard in America, Australia, England, Holland, Germany, etc. And then the most important thing that is the greatest value of all is you'll get a custom dating plan prepared by Tess herself, Social Coach's head female coach. And that will give you the top 3 action steps you need to get, whether you never talk to us or come to a YouTube live again. If you just implement number 1, brave new world, whereas if you implement a bit more of it, it's like you've got no idea what could happen to you. So yeah, for those of you watching the replay, there'll be a link pinned in the chat. And those of you, I think that there'll be a link coming up very soon. And yeah, literally change your life tomorrow. And just by, and you will not know of at least 2 of the things that are in your top list. No one ever does. Yeah, so this will be you tomorrow. I should probably swap the photos of Natalia and Tess out. This is something we literally charge $1,495 on our website for, and tomorrow all you're going to pay is $29. The process will be you book in for a time. I'll come on quickly and just make sure you're not weird or you're going to stress out my number 1 employee. And yeah, so let's get on to the questions the guys had, Tess.
Yeah, so yeah, I have put that link in the chat. I've pinned that at the top for you guys, so that's easily accessible. And yeah, we've had a few questions come in. We've got first question from Steve, who says he's from Sydney. Is the don't use for evil warning because these tools work on a subconscious level she can't resist? Yes, in a way, yes, that's correct. Yeah, so these are things that, you know, it's like you're kind of setting the hook, and for some reason, we want more. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced women who you have no interest in whatsoever, and they and because you ignore her and you don't show her any interest back, it kind of makes it spurs that desire, and she won't leave you alone. That's the same thing. It's like everyone wants what they can't have, right? So if you make it too easy for her, she thinks there's something wrong, right? But when she has to work for it a little bit, that makes it feel more valuable. So yeah, it is on a subconscious level in a way. And yeah, these are things that women use all the time. So you know, we might make you jump through hoops, etc., to you know, get us into bed for the first time, or start dating us, which is kind of a way of manufacturing value around what we are, right? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So let's move on. Oh, James, did you want to say anything else?
Beautifully said, manufacturing value. We're serious. Don't use this for evil. You shouldn't do it karmically anyway, because I know women who've taken advantage of a lot of guys. It comes back and bite them. And equally, a few guys I learned a lot off as a dating coach who really helped me, who basically just treated dozens, hundreds of women horribly, lie, cheating, conniving, but at the same time, very skilled. I mean, I tell you, quite a few of these guys ended up in mental institutions. I just think such an accumulation of bad karma. The other thing is, it's 2026. We all know what happened with Harvey Weinstein and the profound changes in the sexual landscape, and the men who've done nothing wrong have just been destroyed. So you don't want to be giving women stuff to try to destroy you with, or you don't want to be giving motivation to destroy them with. So yeah, use these tools carefully. We might do a couple more questions before we move on. By the way, we absolutely love these questions. This is the most fun for us, and it's the most value we contribute to you, because, you know, I coach guys at a much higher level than YouTube Live in terms of my clients. So yeah, I want to be able to get this for where my YouTube audience is at, not the guys who've already paid a bit of money and done a bunch of training with Tess and are at my events. Next question, Tess.
Yeah, a question from Martin. How do I get her to invest her time and emotions early on, so I'm not the only one doing all the chasing? Okay, so there's a lot to this. Obviously, you know, the stronger the first impression you make, the easier it's going to be for you moving forward after that. So yeah, if you really impress her the first time you meet her with everything, the way, you know, yeah, the way you introduce yourself, the way you've presented yourself, the conversation, the way you've connected, you know, building sexual tension, etc., she's going to be thinking about you. She's going to be like, wow, who's this guy who's really standing out above the crowd, you know? So that initial interaction, there's a lot to it, and that's kind of what we do. So if you want to learn how to do that, you can book in a session with me tomorrow. But yeah, you have to set the hook early. You've got to get her interested early by making a strong impression.
That's great. The answer to a lot of questions, unfortunately, aren't that simple. It's what Tess and I say all the time: touch, eye contact, body language, dramatically better understanding of female psychology, understanding women's tests and how they manipulate men, how to have a date plan, how to dress so that you look stylish without trying too hard. And then most importantly of all, elite level social skill, elite level conversation skills to really find out who she is as a person, get to know her, and separate yourself from all the guys who are younger, hotter, richer, bigger, blacker dick than you, whatever metrics you think you lag in. Okie dokie, and we'll do one more question before we move on.
Question from Wayne. Welcome, Wayne. So how do I stay unavailable to trigger her chase if I actually have a lot of free time? Good question.
I might just jump in there. That's an excellent question. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, I don't like pretending or lying, especially with women, because they'll know. But yeah, just even if you're not doing anything, The strategy I use where I try not to open WhatsApp before 6 or 7. Unfortunately, I've been stuck doing it recently for reasons I won't go into. But even when I do, there's business stuff, and I just don't look or consider anything else unless a dear friend is in a massive car accident or something. I just don't reply to anything social until I finish my work. There are occasions where I do. So yeah, the girl sends a text, and women will just fry themselves over whether some guy texts or when they send texts. And you'll send a text to a girl, she'll literally send it to her girlfriends, and they'll have like a, whatever you call it, a team meeting about what to text back and where to put this comma. They're probably using AI to create the perfect text now. But mind you, guys should probably be doing that too, because most of us are pretty bad at it. So yeah, just don't message back till that evening. So if she messages you at 1 in the afternoon, don't get back to her till 8 p.m. or something. And I mean, yeah, if you are legitimately a busy guy, maybe have the odd day where you don't message back at all. It's like, and you can message back next day, sorry, had to work late or went straight from work to jiu-jitsu and was exhausted, blah, 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 and then answer the question. So you can't be available all the time. Even if you're Elon Musk, women think you're a loser, because they judge you by what the women judge you by the evidence you give them. So they're trying to figure out whether you're Elon Musk or someone who's on unemployment benefits, who just sits around smoking dope all day, just from the evidence they can see. And in today's world, a lot of the guys who are the most successful don't exactly wear beautifully tailored suits and you drive German cars. It's not as obvious as it used to be. So they're trying to read it from the stuff that you give them. Okay, could you remember where we're up to in the questions? Because some good questions there. Okie dokie, make her feel and think, aka ask fucking amazing questions. I should possibly put this number 1 if that's the only thing you do. If that's the only thing you do. One of my favorite clients I onboarded this year, who's doing incredibly well, who's had enough bad luck in whatever, a few months to last most people several lifetimes. And it's severely affected his health and appearance on a grand scale. He's getting insane reactions from women, I believe, much younger than him and much hotter than he ever thought he would have, simply because he's a very smart guy. He's read his fair share of literature, and he's actually coming up with questions that I'm putting on my list of questions. And I can't remember what his last one was. It's like, what's something you'd love for more people to know about you? And the girl's like, ooh. I used to make jokes when I did lots of seminars with all my model female coaches. Most guys weren't that good at the start, but eventually they'd pick up and ask some good questions. And the girls would always go, oh. I used to joke, that's her wanting to suck your dick, which it kind of is. It's just like you've built so much attraction. By the way, if you want to get better at reading body language, you read Tessa's body language very on the stuff, I say, because when her lips are going, that's a sign I've said something she's not particularly comfortable with. And yeah, we did an advanced thing for our students, and like most of the way through it, she was just like, and Tess is one of my more easygoing coaches. So yeah, so Tess is a wee bit upset now. Yeah, you can really work on. I've embarrassed her now too. She's yeah, I amuse myself when I have to watch it so I can get better and pick up YouTube shorts. I go, oh, it's fun watching Tess react to this perler of a politically incorrect thing I said. Anyway, your sex life. So yeah, just ask good questions. Ask good questions. Tess, if you book a call with her tomorrow, she'll give you a detailed structure from what to say when you first meet her, whether it's a bookstore or a street or a shopping center or the gym or wherever you are, or maybe at work, or if it's a bar or a party. We'll give you exactly step-by-step structure what to say. And then we'll give you what I call big motherfucker open-ended questions. Big motherfucker feelings and emotion open-ended questions. We'll give you a bunch of them. And you only need to pull out 2 or 3 of them in the course of an entire seduction. And to say the girl just lands magically on your dick would be an exaggeration, but not that much of an exaggeration if you can just do a half-assed job of everything else. Because with the hottest girls, Tess might talk about this point, no one ever really gets to know them. Everyone's trying to manipulate them. Most guys are scared and nervous, and there's a select group of guys, probably like me, who are conniving how to get into their pants. And then so many women are trying to take advantage of them, or as Tess talked about in a recent event, bullying them because they're jealous about whatever the fact the girl's 5'10" with skinny legs and a big mouth and big eyes and symmetrical features. So talk more about what it feels like when you're on a date with a guy, or you meet a guy and it's just like, wow, he's really getting to know you. I'm enjoying answering these questions so much. Just help the guys understand that from the beautiful woman's point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're really just making it an impact with the conversation. You know, if you're causing her to be introspective, or really think, or eliciting these emotive responses around memories that she's had or whatever, she's reliving those while she's having this conversation with you and getting to know you. It becomes really memorable for her. You know, she's going home later that day thinking, wow, like I was, that was, I really opened up, and I really connected with that person, with this guy. So that becomes really memorable, rather than having some superficial conversation about, well, what do you do for work, and how's the weather, and blah, 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 all this boring chit chat stuff that really, like, she's not going to remember that whatsoever. You're not making an impact with that stuff at all. So when you're able to really engage her with the conversation and get her to invest and open up, again, that's going to be really memorable. You're making an impact with that. So that's exactly what you want to do.
That's great. We might get back to the questions. Can you put up the next one of them? So yeah, questions. But we should give them some. I mean, tell me what you're most looking forward to in your life right now. Tell me what's been the highlight of 2026 for you so far. I mean, one of my favorites, if you won, I usually make it stupid and say, if you were walking across the road and this pram came out and started going across the road and there was a car coming towards it, and you ran over and pushed it aside and fell over and scraped your knee, and the car slammed on the brakes, and then this tall guy walks up to you and goes, oh my God, you saved my child, R2D2 X12. Elon Musk, he's had some crazy name with his Grimes girlfriend. You saved my life. Send me your bank account. I'll put $100 million in there. I'm getting carried away, but I say stupid shit like this on a date. And what would you do with the rest of your life? And then girls will be like, oh, and you can find out so much of their hobbies and interests. The other thing is like, tell me the number one influence on your life. Most girls say their mum, which is kind of boring. In some cases, their mum is truly remarkable, but in most cases, get a life, woman. Surely someone else has influenced you other than your mum. So yeah, there's all these questions where you can really, really, really get to know a girl in a big way. Stuff like, if you could have a dinner party, it's you and any 5 other people in history, who would it be and why? There's all these questions that we teach our clients. Do you have 1 or 2 of your favorites that we teach, Tess?
Yeah, I mean, I like the examples you've given, James. Like, hypothetical questions are really great because they bring a lot of imagination and energy to the conversation. So I do love a hypothetical question. It's a really great way to get her invested as well. You're kind of not giving her the option to just say no. You're like, use your imagination, give me something, so that's a really fun way to get things started.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the number one thing you'd tell your 21-year-old self? Obviously, if you're dating girls who are 21, like I sometimes do, you probably want to go like your 15-year-old self. So, gotcha. Okie dokie, we'll get back to the questions.
Yeah, so
hit us with your questions, guys. We absolutely love them.
So we're up to Martin's question or comment, sorry. I find the same thing when I say something or talk about something I'm passionate about and people don't listen and change the subject. It's awful. Yeah, so exactly. You really want to be connecting with these things. Once once you ask one of these great questions that's going to elicit something she's really interested in, or she's starting to open up to you, if you then cut her short and go, oh, okay, cool, and ask a completely separate question that's unrelated, she's going to think, okay, so he didn't want to talk about those things that I'm interested in. So yeah, it's really important to, when she gives you something of value, to stick with it and help her open up more. Or if it's been, if she's given you only things that you have zero interest in, then yeah, maybe try and steer it into the direction of something that you are interested in. James, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, if you're talking to a girl for a while and you've done like Tessa's conversation training, which those of you who haven't, you can click the link below the video. On the replay, it's below the video. If you're asking her good questions and she's not offering up something good, unless it's a woman's test, it might be time to just go, well, I'm going to protect my self-esteem and my time here and go talk to someone who I find a bit more interesting, who finds me a bit more interesting. Because, yeah, I mean, something I have to tell my clients, you're going to kiss quite a few frogs before you get a girl who's like a really good relationship potential for you. And probably the most single biggest cause of pain in men's lives, particularly successful men's lives, is some hot girl just magically lands on their dick, in part because they disclosed or the girl knew of their financial or career situation. They settle for her, and then their life just goes to the pits of hell because they settled for the wrong girl. And obviously in today's world, women have a lot of power. So you want to pick one who's going to be good for you. Great point, Martin. So that happens to you. I mean, you're like me, you're a 50-something-year-old man. Imagine being a super attractive woman in her 20s or 30s or even 40s. And this shit happens to you all the time. Guys are constantly going up, throwing themselves at you, just changing the subject, talking about how fucking impressive they are the whole time. And you're like, if I tell him to go away, everyone will say I'm a bitch, but I can't waste my life listening to this nonsense. And he so obviously just wants to get into my pants. This is horrible. And that happens to hot girls all the time. The few guys who talk to them just start showing off about everything. Next question, Tess.
Question from Peter. Would you recommend pretending to be vegan to have shared interests with girls? There are tons of vegan girls and no guys. I wonder if this would make me a scarce commodity. I probably would not do that. I think lying about something as big a life choice as being a vegan is not a great way to start an interaction with a woman, especially if she's legitimately vegan and then she finds out that you lied to her. That's not a great place to start. No. So I don't recommend lying ever. I think that you should show interest in if she's vegan and you just show an interest in like, oh, why are you vegan? Why is that important to you? Like, how do you find being vegan? How has it been challenging for you? Or like, what's the best thing about being vegan? You're just showing that you're interested and open around that thing. And she's probably going to respond really well to that. You don't need to pretend to be something you're not. So if you're not vegan, you don't have to be vegan. But if you validate her reasoning or make her feel good about what she's talking about, that'll probably work well to your advantage.
One of the number one rules of social coach is never lie to women, or rarely lie to women. Honey, does my ass look big in these jeans? I think your black ones might be a bit better on you. Just tell the fucking truth. You'll get so much respect over it, even though you might get the odd slap in the face or flying high heel thrown at you. I don't know. Maybe some women would. Should I lie in that situation, Tess?
No, I think that women do appreciate the truth. Obviously you'd have to just choose your wording. You don't want to say, yeah, you look really fat. You might just be a bit softer about it, like, oh, I think this looks better. That might be a better way. But we do appreciate the truth.
Or some girls do. The ones you want to date long term appreciate the truth. The ones who don't appreciate the truth are ones you want to weed out very quickly. Screw them at their place and don't screw them too often. Or you could, does my ass look fat in these jeans? Stop asking me these stupid fucking no-win questions, bitch. You could handle it that way too if you want. I probably have when I've got rather frustrated with certain young ladies, and that can win you some respect too, but I'll probably get in trouble with the ladies because you're calling out a woman's test saying cut the bullshit. Anyway, that's not a recommendation for the general audience on YouTube. That's just me trying to amuse myself and get some weird body language faces out of Tess. Because that's how I managed to stay awake. She does have a beautiful smile. Okie dokie, we might get back to the next point, which is master date logistics. Master date logistics. Your date is your job interview. Your date is your job interview. You might want to write that down. You want to sweep her off her feet. You might not have got laid since the Obama presidency. But you can still look like a super confident, smooth guy by putting a bunch of time and effort into the date. So one of the big things we teach, one of the most important subjects in dating, which is overlooked by so many dating coaches, is to have a really solid date plan where you're trying different things, you're coming up with ideas, and you're testing them, how to go from this location to that location, hopefully back to your bedroom really smoothly. And at the same time, make it easy for you, romantic. If you're not very good at touching and escalating and going in for the first kiss, you design the date so that this sort of stuff can happen naturally. And maybe you're overlooking the water, or you're in a beautiful park, or you're surrounded by people, or you're going to some cool, funky place that makes you look good. Like I'll go to a really nice bookstore cafe. So yeah, you want to master the logistics of dating, because think of date as your job interview. If you don't do well on the date, you don't get the job. You certainly don't get a second interview. So yeah, you've really got to make this shit work. Ask any questions you might want to ask about date planning. Tess, can you, I'm throwing you in the deep end a lot of things times. Can you think of a guy you've met, maybe not one quite attractive or cool or successful or enough hobbies and interests common with you, who took you on a date, you're like, wow, I'm having so much fun, and it's moved to a second date or even to the bedroom when you were like, oh, I don't know about this guy, or he's not really exactly what I want. Can you come up with some sort of idea, give the guys some sort of description of that?
Yeah, I've had a couple of instances like that. I think the biggest thing for me when that's happened is that there've been dates where, which were really, really low key, where it's just been like, going to the beach, or, sitting in a nice spot with a nice view. And it's really been just about the conversation and the connection that's really made it feel, it's gone really, really well, because there weren't these other distractions like, being at a restaurant where we're ordering food and having other people around us, etc. It's actually a lot more intimate when it's just the two of you in nature or something like that. And so those have been the real standouts for me, for, like early dates, like first date, where I don't really know anything about that person. And, there's no, like I've met them off a dating app or something. So it's not like there's been any sexual tension built or anything like that. It's kind of like blank slate. Yeah. So yeah, that connection, it really comes back to that connection. And also keeping it simple. It really works really, really well. But yeah, the difference between that and going on a first date where, you go to a restaurant, you're sitting across the table from each other, you just, there's no opportunity for touch. You kind of, your conversation's interrupted by things going on, in the venue. And it's really stale. You just get stuck there for a few hours, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, that was nice. Bye. See that, like, that has been make or break for me on whether I want to see that person a second time, you know, in comparison to the other dates I spoke about, where we've just done something where we've really actually been able to connect, and yeah, it's been a lot more simple. And it might be a little bit more dynamic as well. So we're not just stuck in the restaurant. Like when I go for a walk, there are different points of interest, etc. It doesn't feel stale.
Fantastic. I was traveling in Europe, and I was out with a very beautiful man and a bunch of attractive women. And I met a girl who, when I say a model, not really a big time model, but yeah, she was tall and skinny and she'd done a bit of modeling. And I met her as part of a really high attractive group. Now, I probably talked to this girl for 5 or 10 minutes. So generally speaking, a guy as attractive as me, she's just never, ever going to show up on a date with me, because I'm not that hot for a girl this attractive. But because I was with some attractive people, she showed up. Now, I was pretty promiscuous at this time in my life. So in this particular city, one of my close friends was living there as well. I had a pretty good date plan, which I'd used successfully and turned into sex 2 times before. And yeah, so I get this girl. I just run through this date plan I'd sort of refined and perfected. If you want to get your date plan refined and perfected and figure out a good one near where you live, if you click the link below, Tess is a bit of a master at helping you with this. So anyway, I got the date plan, I take her on the date plan, and it turned out this girl was profoundly boring. She was pretty attractive, but it was by far and away the worst date of my entire life. Nothing's come close. It's just like, it was just tedious. I did the little trick of, I got her to leave something in my house or in the apartment I was renting, so she had to come back, and then I just raced through the steps of my date plan, and then the final one, we go to a cafe, and it's like, I got to abandon this. It was just, I went through pretty quick because I was really struggling. I'm really good with conversation. And I get to the final cafe, and she orders this gigantic big cup of tea that's boiling hot. I don't think she puts any milk or anything in there. So it's like, Jesus Christ, man. And there's a lid on it. So it's taking her forever to finish this thing. And I'm just like, this is bad, this is excruciating. I don't know what to say. This is uncomfortable silence. The girl must have been dying on the inside. But I just think, because I was with high value, is it social proof? Because I was with really high value people when she met me, I think she was determined to make it work. So I'm dying. It's like, I can't do this any longer. I was about to just say, listen, it was nice to meet you, goodbye, and just knock on the door and get you the thing. But I didn't. So anyway, eventually she finished the tea. Then I walk her back to my place. I'm just like, I'm barely even talking to her. It's like, this is just the worst experience of my life. I've wasted whatever it was, an hour of my life, and I'm bored out of my fucking mind. I really was bored out of my mind. This girl was so boring. She wasn't interested in anything apart from maybe shopping. She's just so boring, just profoundly boring. So I get back there, and then I'm just like, okay, well, here, it's my door. I'm just going to give you your bag and then fuck you off and never see you again. So I get the bag and I hand it to her. Then I just go to give her a little hug and kiss on the cheek. And as soon as I go in for the hug, she grabs my face like that and starts kissing me. I'm just like, what the fuck? I was not expecting that in a million years. And I'm like, and again, I was quite promiscuous at this stage in life. I'm like, and the kissing gets really passionate really quickly. I'm just like, I'm bored out of my mind. Now this girl's kissing me like whatever. So anyway, I knew what I was doing. So I'm like, okay, well, I back through the door, and I put my hand on the small of her back, and I pull her right into me hard. And then I keep walking backwards, and I spin around, and I knew there was this big pillar in the middle of the apartment I rented. So anyway, I used to be pretty good at this shit. So I walked around, and I picked up a big pillow off the couch, and then I put that behind her, and I just slammed her into this pillar with the big pillow behind, and she's like, oh. And then anyway, 5 minutes later, I was probably inside her. So I'd taken the most boring date in the history of the fucking known universe. Like, no human beings ever been this bored on a date as me, not even a really hot girl. And I turned it into sex. like literally. And it's just the moral of the story is I just had this killer date plan, had this really killer date plan all the way up to I knew exactly how to seduce her in an explosive way. And yeah, so I had sex with that girl. And there was another girl where I met her when she was with her family. And anyway, we sat outside a love hotel. And I'm just like, this could be the mother of my children. I can't sleep with her in here for the first time. It's got to be more romantic. It's got to be more proper. But I never actually got another chance. And one of her fucking cousins came and rescued her from this much older guy who was trying to fuck her, which I was. But this girl was crazy about me. The second one, she just keeps messaging me every time I hop onto the internet. So yeah, date planning, which Tess can help you with, which we go into in a fair bit of detail in our boot camps. That's like, it's just like mastery. It's like one of the most important things of all. And it's so easy. You can become so much more successful with women just by having just having a really good date plan. Like invest 2 hours into that and follow our structure, and you could well be getting girls into bed, and certainly getting second dates you never would before, because you're engineering, you're almost manipulating this swept off your feet situation. So everything we talk about, date planning, conversation, touch, eye contact, body language, reading women's signals, understanding psychology, it all sorts of fits together. And it's like a chain. If you've just got one chain broken, the whole thing breaks. I was talking to a client today who's a very handsome guy. He's like, oh, why on I get all this attention from women and they talk to me and they come and approach me, but I'm not getting results. And I said, it's because you're not fucking listening to me. I keep telling you this stuff. You've done the boot camp, but you just don't implement key parts of the boot camp. And it's just like there's this you've got a bucket you're trying to fill with water. This is this gigantic hole in the bucket. So yeah, you've got to have a date plan. You've got to have a date plan. Don't bother going on dates with girls till you get a good date plan. Anything you want to add to that, Tess?
No, I think you covered that really well, James. That was really good.
Rant over. Date plan rant over. Okay, we might do the next one. Crack her psychology. Crack her psychology. Tessa's number one most important thing guys need to do to improve with women is to understand their psychology. Do you want to give a quick summation of why you think that's so important and the key things guys need to look for? Again, I'm throwing her in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you understand how women think, and we don't all think exactly the same, but especially in the early parts of seduction, it's really, you understand why certain things work for women, why that's attractive to her. Also, as you move into a relationship as well, like when you understand why a woman's acting a certain way at any given time, it's easy to decipher what's what's going on and how to deal with different situations, and also how to be a step ahead of her as well. It's all about that power play, really. But yeah, when you understand how women think, everything just becomes so much easier. You understand her body language, her signals, the way she communicates, and you understand why all of the stuff we teach works, what's behind it and why that actually translates to success with women. Yeah, it's really, really important. It's kind of what underpins everything.
Yeah, Tessa's key point, which is probably the most brilliant thing she's said in her whole time as a dating coach, is that you've got all the stuff I talk about: touch, eye contact, body language, elite level conversation skills, date planning, blah, 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 even women's tests and sex and that sort of thing, and female fantasies. You've got all these things that you need to have some level of competence over. I make it sound quite complicated, but it's just beat the average American guy or beat the average Aussie guy, or beat the average German guy at these sort of half dozen things, and you're just going to destroy them all. You don't need to beat them by much, you just need to beat them. So yeah, but Tessa's point is that you need to do all these, but the understanding the female psychology is like the umbrella or the chain that holds them all together. Because if you don't have that, then the pieces, you're really struggling to figure out exactly how they fit. So yeah, again, any questions on these? We've been a bit neglectful of our questions, but I'll just finish this point off, then we might have a good go at the questions. So you've got her actual psychology. Key things are, if I was the son of a Eastern European dictator, and I could just rape and pillage at will without any problem, I could probably, if I started at like 15 or 16, I could probably have 10,000 kids without too much trouble. Particularly if you're doing what the Chinese emperors do, where you've got a production line of women just waiting to be inseminated, which is basically the way they used to do it, and the way Genghis Khan probably did it. So yeah, I can have, any man who's healthy can have thousands of children, whereas most women are really going to struggle to have more than 8 kids. They'd have to start young and it'd still be going years and years later. There's some women who can naturally have like twins and stuff, but that's very, very rare. So in today's world, she's generally not going to get over 8 to 10 kids. Whereas men, you can have as many kids as you want, and most high-value men, they'll trade up their woman every few years, and they'll have kids with a new one. Mick Jagger, I think, still going at like 78 or something. And he sings "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." He sleeps with his wife's girlfriends, and he sleeps with his daughter's girlfriends, and he sleeps with his granddaughter's girlfriends, most of whom are models. So yeah, men and women are very different. The other thing is, we probably don't go on dates worrying we get raped or murdered, whereas that's a constant thing for women. Even if it's only subconscious now, if in quite a wealthy suburb, it's still in the back of their mind. Like if Tess wore a short skirt and something tight and put heels on and whatever, had her hair out, and she was walking along most streets at night, there'd be this thing in the back of her mind about, oh, is something bad going to happen to me? Whereas for many of us guys, it wouldn't even occur to us unless we're in a very poor area. So there's so many things about male psychology and female psychology where women are radically different from men, and you guys just don't get it. You just don't get it. And the few guys who do, we get all the women. Yeah, like a friend of mine was standing in Bondi Beach, which is a very, very safe place, with a good friend of mine, and this girl walked past in this killer sexy outfit, and it's like 11:30 or 12 at night, and she was walking under a dark tree and this sort of thing, and he just sort of stares at her and pervs at her big time. Now, I'm one of the worst pervs that ever walked the face of the earth. I'm always staring at girls unashamedly. Don't dress like that if you don't want me to stare. But I'd never intentionally do that at night when she's walking under a tree and there's 2 guys around and it's quiet, because that's being really cruel to her. But I started explaining this to guys, like, he just didn't get it. So, and then he wonders why he doesn't have the results with women he wants. So the other thing about cracking her psychology is understanding how she fucks with you, understanding women's tests. One of the common things they do is they'll try to make you jealous. So you might be on a first date with a girl, and you come in, you go to all this trouble to look nice, and you buy stuff, and you leave work early, and you go home and wash your car or whatever stupid shit you do. Most guys try far too hard for a date. And then she'll sit and she'll flirt with this attractive barista or waiter in front of you. That's a game. That's a game. Do you know what the game's for? It's to see how you react. If you're start like, oh, you're here with me, what you talking to that handsome Italian guy with the big biceps for? I thought you were here with me. You haven't even go on a second date and you're already leaving me for someone else. A lot of guys will do that. So if a woman plays this simple little game with a guy, she sorts out, if you like, the winners from the losers, the guys who've got some experience with women who might be good partners. She's sorting out, she's sifting through them straight away. The thing they do is you walk up and try to talk to them. It's like, hey, how you doing? I'm James. And there'll be some hot girls who they'll just ignore me for like 5 seconds, even 10 or 15 seconds. And if the girl sort of looked at you and it was an invited approach, she's just waiting to see, because she knows if you go, hey, how you doing? I'm James, and she just stands there and ignores you for 3 seconds, most of the guys will leave, and she's automatically sorted all the confident guys who get it, who've had attractive women before, who might be good boyfriends, from the guys who are clueless, which is most of the Western world, across certainly Western Europe and America, Australia, North America, etc. Any more questions about crack her psychology, women's tests, and actually understanding female psychology at a deep level? Tess, can we get back to the questions, please? And guys, now's the time to pummel us with questions. We love them. Don't wait till till we're sick and tired of this and Tess wants to get to bed and everything. We're not doing any more 3-hour YouTube lives.
All right,
2 hours
so
with the questions now.
So Wayne says, hey Tess, if women don't like being objectified, why do they get dressed up so sexy and go to nightclubs, etc.? Don't they love teasing guys with their hot bodies? Okay, so some women might want to be objectified, as in, like, you know, there could be a percentage of women out in nightclubs who are just looking for a one-night stand. Yeah, I would argue that potentially they're maybe not the most high quality women. Generally, women who are like spoiled for choice with men and high quality men aren't just looking for one night stands, unless she's, I don't know, just had a big breakup or something and wanting a rebound. Yeah, women, we like to feel desired. Don't get me wrong. We absolutely love to feel desired. That's really important. But that doesn't mean that that's the only way we value ourselves, right? And it doesn't mean that if that's the only way you value us and it's really obvious, that that's not going to turn us off, right? So of course we want attention and we want to feel sexy and we want to feel sexually desired. That's really important. But we also want to know that there's more than that as well. So you need to do both. You know, the fact that you go up to a woman and speak to her in a nightclub or a bar or something, you know, an implied social setting, going up to a woman you've never met before, it's kind of implied that you're speaking to her because why would you want to speak to her unless there was some level of attraction, or maybe she was just standing next to you in the bar line and you decided to start a conversation, which is fine. But yeah, you don't need to. The fact that she's dressed up, etc., is also, it's not just for you, it's also for her other girlfriends. It's to make her feel good about herself. You know, when we think we look sexy or attractive, that gives us confidence to go out and feel good about ourselves, right? So it's not just about trying to tease guys with our hot bodies. No.
Great question. If women don't like being objectified, why they get all dressed up and so sexy and go out to nightclubs, etc., don't they love teasing guys with their hot bodies? Okay, this is where female psychology comes in. There's so many points to this excellent question from Wayne_90. Women would love to be objectified by Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, and I don't know who else is a sex symbol these days, but they don't want to be objectified by the average sleazy guy who gets nothing. They find that horrific and horrible and disgusting, which is why they often do this thing in nightclubs, particularly the upmarket nightclubs where the hot girls go, where there's massive screening to try to keep down the regular dudes. And any regular dudes who get in there, in North America, need to pay absurd amounts of money for bottle service or something. So they like being objectified by the guys they want. They don't like generally being objectified by guys who they find unattractive, which a lot of guys get really upset with. The other thing is, if you've had beautiful girlfriends, or two girlfriends like I have, who are both pretty attractive, the amount of energy women get when they dress sexy, or even if they're just tall and attractive, is incredible. So women really love this energy. They feed off, and unfortunately, a lot of beautiful girls need it to survive. I've dated quite a few girls who are just addicted to the energy that their beauty would attract, which is why a lot of hot girls just fall off, they just fly over the cuckoo's nest once they get beyond a certain age, because once they're not getting the energy and attention for their appearance, a lot of them have little other self-esteem, even though I know quite a few very impressive women who are very hot, who are just psychological, emotional fucking wrecks because they don't really have any self-esteem other than their looks, which is really sad. Ironically, my two best coaches now, Tess and Natalia, are both very attractive girls who have so much other shit going on in their life. If Tess was I don't know, that some horrible person threw acid over her, she was in a car crash. Sorry, I don't want to come with this horrible shit. If Tess lost all of her beauty tomorrow, I think she'd still be a functioning human being, whereas many beautiful women wouldn't. They'd just don't love teasing guys their hot bodies when they're young. Yeah, there's definitely a big element of that. I think it's the energy they get off them and the power. Yeah, that they just love the energy. A lot of young hot girls just love to go out and dance. I mean, some of the immortal, not my taste, I'm more Tchaikovsky, Schubert, Beethoven guy, but some of the immortal songs of all time, Dancing Queen, Feel the Beat on the Tambourine. Oh yeah, it's like having the time of your life. So yeah, women love this a lot. It's just like I dunked basketballs in games. The best thing that ever happened to me. Or got 6 or 7 wickets in cricket or something, or scored a lot of runs. So yeah, I'm going to get pilloried by the feminists for being so reductive as to the female gender. But yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah, they'll be sending the blue-haired bitches after me with pitchforks for saying stuff like this. Men and women are exactly the same. Don't you know that? There's many women who could go into the NBA right now and compete against LeBron James and whoever's still playing these days. Of course they would. If women don't like it, so that's a great question, Wayne. This delves into deep female psychology. Why do they do this? They hate guys perving at them, unless they're Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio or someone they really want. And they don't like attention, unwanted attention from sleazy. It's also, there's a time and a place. They might be at a nightclub with all their glamorous girlfriends and potentially some guys to protect them. And they love the attention they get there. When they're just going about their day, walking to buy their groceries or walking their dog or something, particularly if they've got a boyfriend, they don't want a million guys just staring at them, let alone annoying them. The most beautiful woman, to me, I've ever seen with my own eyes, there's a woman called Charlotte Kemp Mule, who's a New York model, who's more attractive than the girl I really loved. But the most attractive woman, certainly facially, I've seen, she just used to dress intense. It was like the most baggy, like sort of raincoat, the most baggy jeans, the most oversized cap and sunglasses. She just used to hide from the world the whole time because she was just sick of being bothered by people. Okie dokie, next question.
Yeah, sorry, I just want to quickly add to this. Yeah, women love the attention, but they want a guy who knows how to handle himself around, a sexy woman or a really beautiful woman. So that's really important. Really good question. Okay, so History says, do you still use statements of sexual interest, SOI, like Wayne taught, to reward and escalate verbally, e.g., I find that sexy about you in any way? It does not seem so. Okay, I'll just read that again. Oh, James,
I'll answer that. It wouldn't probably mean anything to you. Wayne is one of the immortal characters from the book The Game. I think his name was Juggler. And at the time, he probably talked more sense than anyone, probably all of them put together. I don't agree with a bunch of stuff, and I think he was largely teaching conversation. But he was way better than anyone else, and he did good for the world by the other famous people were just teaching some of the most nonsensical, misogynistic stuff ever, in my opinion. So I don't do that. Occasionally I'll mention it for a client who just can't get the touching. You can just call out, oh, wow, I find that so sexy about you. It's not terrible. And it's better than doing nothing. But I think you're a much smoother guy if you don't call, it's not like, oh, can I stick my penis in you now? I mean, these days it probably is because of the nonsensical wokeness and silly laws. You have to ask, yes means yes nonsense. But yeah, the way you did it when the world had some level of common sense, is you just read her body language, you do it with touch, eye contact, body language, body positioning, seduction skills. I still think it's the same thing. The way you escalate with a woman is by touching her and moving closer to her and facing your body more towards her and looking in the eyes in a certain way and dropping down and just getting us swept away in the moment rather than using verbal strategies. But as far as verbal strategies go, yeah, I mean, if you're not necessarily, you could be in America. If you're not prepared to do our boot camp or do coaching with Tess to find much better strategies, yeah, that's a pretty good way. Yeah, you can see some of our YouTube videos that will tell you a lot about what to do on dates and how to actually start escalating, how to touch. But yeah, in the absence of skillful escalation, I find that sexy about you. That's a pretty solid strategy. I don't personally like it, certainly at my level, and it could be misinterpreted. But yeah, it's pretty solid. Tess, let's get your perspective.
No, I completely agree with you, James, and I was going to say the exact same thing. It's nowhere near as strong as, escalating, building sexual attraction, skillful touch, etc., where the woman's like getting titillated and she's like getting excited and it's really building for her, and there's like a bit of mystery as well that's really enticing to a woman, rather than overtly saying, I find this sexy about you. If you were to say, I find this sexy about you too early on in a conversation as well, that could really push her away. She's like, ew, we're just getting to know each other, or, so if you are able to build a bit more of a foundation where there's some sexual tension building, etc., and then you say, I find that sexy about you, that's okay. But yeah, we don't necessarily teach that sort of thing. It's much more in line with what James has said, which is a lot more powerful.
The reason I stopped doing it is I did it, admittedly, I was probably pretty confident at the time. I did it with a girl who was a fly around the world model. I did it with my current girlfriend at the time. I did a seminar with the two of them. And I think I can't remember, it got brought up how I said that on dates, and they just said it just seems so weird and it's so out of place. It's like, why would you say that? It's just so stupid. Now, but I mean, that's at that point quite a confident guy who had plenty of results. Whereas for the beginner, it may have a lot more value. I personally don't like it. I personally think it's a very much a beginner strategy, but I'm guessing on YouTube we have a lot of beginners. It's a hell of a lot better than the rest of the pickup artists at the time going, your nose wiggles when you talk, or starting abusing them, trying to bring your value up and bring their value down by essentially insulting them. Okie dokie, next question.
Okay. Sorry guys, a few comments here. Initiator Hater says, I remember you said, James, and I'm sure many of you agree, it's a tragedy. Sorry. I remember you said, James, and I'm sure many of you agree, it's a tragedy, feels like an injustice. The advantage social skills you teach on your boot camps are not taught in the education system worldwide. Thanks for that comment.
I don't want to go conspiracy on you, but sort of the Western economy would probably grind to a halt if guys were confident with women. Hopefully I don't get into too much trouble, but yeah, if you look at the racial groups or the ethnicities that are considered very attractive to women and the level of their GNP per capita versus the groups that are considered unsuccessful with women and their GNP per capita, there's a huge correlation between sucking with women and economic prosperity. I mean, Asian men, probably the most notorious, struggle with women. They've got some very, very good economies, and you've got places like Singapore and Japan that have gone from Korea that have gone from shithole third world to some of the most advanced economies in the world in short time. And it's just because the men suck with women. And there's this hypothetical carrot, this fictional carrot carrot on a stick. It's like, oh, if I get money, if I get a nice BMW, if I get this, I'll get lots of girls. Well, no, not really. If you start getting Bentleys and gigantic mansions, that level of success, maybe you will start getting girls, but they'll be the worst girls ever. If you want to get girls, get skills. It's that simple. So yeah, if the people who controlled the world were sincerely interested in our well-being, they'd be teaching the Stoic philosophers, and they'd be teaching how to win friends, influence people. There'd be a whole bunch of books that would be taught by year 8 at the latest. They'd be teaching us proper sex ed. They'd be teaching us female psychology, and probably most importantly of all, they'd be teaching us how to talk to strangers and build rapport and that sort of thing. But they don't do that because it's bad for the economy. They want us to be awkward and fragile and stuck, dependent on their TV and whatever. Anyway, I could get onto a rant about that. No, I mean, one of my goals is to actually, have the curriculum I've created with help of beautiful women like Tess to have that taught to young kids, because it would transform their life like almost nothing else. What we hear all the fucking time is, oh my God, I wish I'd have done this when I was 18. Or what you said, I can't believe they don't teach this in school. It's just so freaking obvious just to teach open-ended questions and basic touch and basic reading signals and body language. I mean, who's been to school and done a basic course in reading signals or reading body language? I don't know anyone. It's one of the most important things in life. And they're all concerned about, oh, you can't make a woman tiny, weensy bit uncomfortable ever. Otherwise, you're a Harvey Weinstein predator, pedophile, and you should go to jail. But they don't teach us anything. It's just madness. It's complete madness. I'll get off my soapbox now, but yeah, there should be, I don't know what year is appropriate. Tess might have an opinion. Women should be sat down in year 8 or year 9 or something, and they should be taught to go, no, and give like a really hard no. It's like, no, I'm not having sex with you tonight. This is not joke. This is not flirting, because guys are fucking stupid. We don't get this. So anyway, there's so many things that needs to happen in the education system that never will, because it's bad for the economy and it's bad for the people who wield huge power over the world. Anyway, thanks for getting me on a soapbox there. I'll watch my little YouTube graph and see what the people thought about that little spiel. Tess, next question.
Okay, so Martin's asking, what does it look like when women compete for a man, and how do I trigger that instinct?
Yeah, it's like people competing for anything, and women compete for men harder than you can ever imagine. How do you trigger that instinct? I'm sorry, my answers are so bland. Touch, eye contact, body language, body positioning, elite level conversation skills, reading body language, date planning, style, understanding female psychology, particularly the way they compete for each other. So yeah, you can start by asking them really fucking good questions and listening, and touching them ever so delicately on the shoulder, the most neutral part of the body. There's a top 3. And dress well yourself. That's a huge one. Tess, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, what does it look like when women compete for a man? It's hard for me to relate to, because I don't like to compete for men. I like men to compete for me. But how do you trigger that instinct? Basically, if you are a high value man, women are going to be, they're going to be approaching you. They're going to be putting in effort to try and date you, etc. So it is basically just everything we teach. Trying to be a high value man in the eyes of women. Okay, next question from Steve. How do I pass a woman's compliance?
We might just get on to the points and then come back to that,
okay.
if you could remember that
We'll
one.
come back to your question, Steve. No worries. So where were we at?
Answer your questions and give you everything we talked about. Point 6, how to get women obsessed with you. Shut the fuck up. I repeat, shut the fuck up. If there's one thing you can do to improve your dating life, particularly when you actually get the girl on a date, just shut up and listen really well, and use that listening, not just what she's saying, what she's feeling, to ask even better follow-on questions. That's one of my grand secrets, which sounds really boring. So, oh, I paid all this money and some guy taught me how to shut up and listen. That's a big part of what we do for so many guys, and it helps you in business too. Yeah, I mean, as soon as a guy who's not really good with women gets around attractive women, the vast majority of them, they're just trying to talk. They're trying to demonstrate value. A lot of the dating coaches are teaching you to do this. They're just the BMW and the job and the holiday and who their cool friends are, and all these great things about you and how much you bench pressed, and just complete nonsense she doesn't care about till she's attracted to you. And that the funniest thing is, the most beautiful girls, the ones that presumably you want the most, they're the ones that no one ever listens to. No one ever listens to them. They're constantly trying to use them or manipulate them or take advantage of them, or drooling around them or nervous around them. So if you can just ask good questions, shut the fuck up, and ask follow-on good questions, and just touch them on the shoulder and dress okay, you've literally, and if you put if you put your details into the link in the chat, Tess can take you through this in extreme detail tomorrow. Yeah, if you just do that, it's so easy. I explained there was a guy who'd had more bad luck in the last few months than most guys have in a year, whose appearance is nothing like what it used to be. He's just having the most incredible experiences, really just by shutting up and asking good questions, and then touching and doing what I said, and dressing a lot better than he did previously. Tess, actually go back to your modeling days in your early 20s, where I'm guessing you can stop traffic. I mean, you can stop traffic today. That wasn't meant to be rude, but yeah, where you're probably acting a little bit less conservatively than you might today, and your sort of life goals were slightly different. Just talk about some guy, even quite an attractive guy, who just can't shut the fuck up, and he's just basically throwing his resume at you. Just talk about how that makes you feel.
Just not seen at all. I think it makes the guy seem really insecure as well, when he has to just be saying, oh, I've got this business and these are my achievements, these are the countries I've been to, these are the things I've done. It's like, it just comes across as a lot of nervous energy, and it makes the guy, I'm always almost like questioning that as well. It's like, what are you compensating for? Or like, why are you trying to impress me with all of your achievements? And it doesn't really build attraction at all, especially for a person like me. Like, maybe if she was just some gold digger or something, she might be interested in that. But yeah, it's terrible. The worst thing is when you're a bit attracted to a guy, and you're like, oh, okay, like, who's this guy? Let I'll talk to him. He asks you a question, and you say, oh yeah, did a bit of this, and what you're doing is you're kind of giving him an inkling of what you're interested in, and you're wanting him to engage further with it without you just giving away everything straight away. But instead of doing that, he just, if I say, oh yeah, I've talk about some travel, or I talk about, oh yeah, I might go surfing a bit or something like that. I'm going to see if he's interested in surfing, right? And then he just goes into some story about what he likes to do or his travel adventures or whatever. I'm like, cool, okay, I'll just I'm just gonna tune out now. And it becomes so boring. And yeah, at that stage I'm really starting to lose interest. So when a guy can show that he's interested in me enough to engage with my interests and go further into that and want to know what's beyond the surface level, it really invites me to open up to him, and it makes me enjoy the conversation more as well. I'm enjoying the interaction. I'm feeling validated because he's engaging with with me in my life, and asking really good questions. So yeah, shut up guys. If you're if you know that this is a problem for you, and like so many of the clients I work with, They like, yeah, this is a problem of mine. I can't shut up. It'll make the biggest difference to you when you just zip it. If you do one thing, just change that, it will make the biggest difference to you. You have to allow the woman to open up. When you're talking constantly, that's the opposite of her opening up.
Yeah, if you want to get women obsessed with you, ask good questions, shut up, ask even better questions, which tend to be open-ended feelings and emotion questions, and then just touch her on the shoulder and then have a good date plan. If that's all you do, brave new fucking world. Brave new. That's a huge part of what I do. That's a huge part of what I teach my most successful students to do. Because you've separate, I mean, just look at look at any dating coach on YouTube, what they're telling you. It's just like, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, there's probably stuff that gets lots of views. If I made a video, the secret to getting better with women, listen well. I mean, no one would fucking click on it. It'd probably be daylight, crickets. But yeah, it's the truth. It's just so powerful. And the more beautiful the woman, the younger she is in you, the higher value she is relative to you, the more important just shut up and listen. The more promiscuous I am, the much less percentage talking I do on dates. The quicker I get sex, the more likely I am to get dates. The better the sex is, the more she's obsessed with me. It's just and also the more I shut up, the less chance I've got to say something stupid which turns her off, which I'm really good at doing. I might be very good relative to the average guy, but there's been many occasions where I've said something stupid, and because I'm good at reading signals, I just see the girl lose so much interest. So the less you say, the less opportunity you have to fuck up. And what happens is the hot girls. Okay, a little bit of a life tip there, boys. Hot girls are a wee bit self-obsessed, just a little bit. And the hotter they are, the more self-obsessed they are. And if someone actually asks them good questions and listens to them, that doesn't happen very often. So they can get a bit carried away talking about themselves, to put it mildly. So yeah, if the more I can get them doing that, the more crazy attraction they have for me. And if you look at the girls I got, that there's just no fucking way I should have ever got near them. Beauty, age, their whatever modeling careers, the age difference. Yeah, I mean that's been one of the biggest things, and so many of our clients are reporting this constantly as well. And finally, make her invest. Make her invest. So I'm all about, it's a gentleman's job to try to fuck a woman. You got to be a man. You got to take responsibility for every part of the seduction. It's your job. She's judging your character by how you seduce her. This is all well and good, but yeah, like you go on a date with her, she shows up, she's investing in you. You take her from one cafe and go for a walk with her, she's investing in you. I don't know, you might ask her to do a small favor for you. Hey, I'm running late from, no, don't do that, it's a dumb idea. You've just got to get her to invest. You don't want to, like, I mean, one thing I do constantly with girls I'm dating is if it's a third world country or something, or they're much younger than me, they're still at university, and for some reason I've already had sex with them a bunch of times before I do this, but if I take them out to dinner, I'd go, okay, well, I'll get the dinner, but you're getting the coffees, or I'll get the dinner, you're getting this. Or like when I had two by girlfriends, and I sometimes I'd take them away for holidays. Often I made one of them pay her share of it, but on times I didn't, I go, okay, well, I'll get the accommodation, you take us all out for dinner. So you've got to, it's not just you trade beauty for money or beauty for time. She's got to invest, and not just invest money, invest time and invest effort, get her doing things along the way. Tess, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that women do with men all the time. We test how much power we have in the relationship, to get the guy see how much he's going to invest, or try to get him to invest, you know, whether that's just like saying, hey, can you pick me up at this late hour of the night, take me home, or yeah, will you drive me to this thing on the other side of the city at a ridiculous hour, or pick me up from the airport for whatever, some ridiculous hour, whatever. It's all these little things where we yeah, we're like, okay, how far is this gonna go for me? So yeah, I think it's if you can create balance there, it is about just, yeah, again, those power dynamics in the relationship, but you're also keeping her on her toes. You know, I think that women, when we get bored, and when we're in a relationship where we know we have all of the power, it becomes unsatisfying. You know, we don't like to be to have all the power, and to have yeah, be in a situation where things are way too easy for us, because it does get boring, and we'll start to, yeah, I don't know, act out or look for validation elsewhere, or I don't know, like, so yeah, if you can just make her invest in little ways, it's just about keeping the balance there as well, because women kind of do this innately. We learn how to manipulate from a young age. It's how we get what we want in life. It's just a part of the way we think. So so yeah, if you're able to just do that back a little bit, it just helps to make it feel balanced, really, and keep her interested, keep her engaged.
One of the big ways I get the girl to invest is if I meet a girl and I go on a date with her, I pitch my date plan. For 10 or 12 years, I never went more than like a kilometer from my house for a date. Like, never, not once. I remember there was a girl I met and I screwed around a bit. So I said, okay, well, I'll come into the city for the first date. And it was just a bad dynamic. I didn't have a date plan set up. You know, she was a long way away from me, so I couldn't get her back to where I lived in Bondi for the second date. So yeah, I haven't left where I live. It's always, you meet me where I want to go. So I'm getting them to invest massively. If anyone who knows Sydney geography, I'm getting girls to come up from the northern beaches and the North Shore, to meet me in Bondi, and some of them end up having sex with me. Whereas I just do. They go, oh, why don't you meet me in the city? I go, yeah, but the city's yucky compared to Bondi. Just come to Bondi. It'll be fun. It's great weather. We can see the sunset. I just sell them on it. Now, not every girl's done that, to be honest, but many of them have, and many of them, because they're investing so much already, most of them have ended up sleeping with me. So you got to get the girl to invest. Don't just be sweeping her off for free. Don't take her out to dinner and pick her up and she does everything and you pay for everything and she's got to do a little bit for you. Definitely. Okie dokie. We're going to get back to our questions in just a wee second. But before we do, ways to make girls massively attached and even obsessed with you. Number one is screen her hard. You've got to be finding out what her hobbies, interests, what's her character. Why is this a good, why is it worth you two guys spending more time together, assuming you're a busy, high value guy? Ghost her a bit. Not literally, but don't just be constantly replying to whatever she says. If you're supposedly any sort of a slightly successful or slightly busy guy, do not be replying to messages during office hours during the day. It's like, I think it's so amateur. There's a lot of very successful guys who are so bad with women that they do get an opportunity with a woman and they're sort of replying in meetings. Oh, Tessa's messaging me. I'll forget about my 15 staff and just get back to this one hot girl. Don't do that. Even if you're not successful with women, you got to at least try to make out like you are without lying about it. Make her feel and think. This might be the biggest one of all for beginners. Ask really fucking good. Write this down. Ask really fucking good feelings and emotion, open-ended questions, and fucking listen. Just do that. Do nothing else. Maybe dress okay and touch on the shoulders. Those 3 or 4 things will revolutionize your results with women if you can just do that. Next thing is master date logistics. If you're spending time trying to improve with women and you don't have a really solid date plan where you know exactly when I meet her, roughly how long I stay there, where I go next, where's a nice walk across nature or some interesting shopping street or something, preferably a park. How long do I spend there roughly? And then where's a place I can go that's somewhat near my house, near my bedroom, where we can get in some sort of a low slung couch or something, or maybe a park, so that I can actually start to put my moves on her prior to getting to bedroom. If you don't have a plan like that, which you can click on the link and Tess can help you with tomorrow, that's one of the first things we do for guys. Teach you, give them a really good date plan, bespoke to where you live and your hobbies and interests and who you are as a man. Because a guy who doesn't drink much, he doesn't like drinking, will probably have a very different date. Like me, I'll have got a very different date plan to a lot of the guys I know, I learned from, who are very good with women, who are just mainly using bars for dates. So you want a master date plan. If you don't have a date plan that you're pretty confident with, just stop wasting your time on women. Just don't know, use seeking arrangement or use porn or something, because you just this bottomless pit of time and energy you're wasting. Next thing is crack her psychology. You need to be basically way better at the average American, whatever, Canadian, Australian, English, Dutch, German guy. You're going to be dramatically better Swedish guy at her psychology and understanding how she manipulates men. This is probably the number one most attractive thing a man can have, is to be able to understand her games and tests and manipulations and not fall for them, because you're immediately showing the most massive amount of pre-selection. He's passing my tests. He's passing some pretty advanced tests. This guy must have had a whole string of hot girls before. The fact that he's even got some sort of a clue about this. And the girls just get so attracted to you. I've seen them so many times. My clients report this to me constantly. Oh, she tried to fuck with me, and I knew what she was doing, and I just coolly, without being explicit about, without being overt about it, handled it. Then she became dramatically more attracted to me than she ever was before. So the simple act of, you walk up to a girl who's been looking at you and you go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm James," or whatever your name is, and just keep your hand there for maybe 5 seconds or 4 seconds, and not just go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm James. I'm going to go to therapy because you rejected me," which is what most guys do these days. Oh, women only want 6'8" billionaires with Ferraris and rocket ships and helicopters, and just do the usual shit. Just crack her psychology, understand what makes women tick and how they control and manipulate men. We welcome your questions about this. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up and listen and ask good questions. Game changer in and of itself. Hot girls don't know what it's like to have someone listens to them, and when they do, they get pretty fucking self-obsessed. And make her invest. As simple as getting her to come to you for the day, or if the girl's a lot younger than you and she's still at university, or she doesn't have much money and you got lots of money, okay, I'll buy dinner, but you're going to buy coffee after, or I'll pay for the airfare and the hotel, but you're buying me dinner and you're paying for the tour. Just make her invest. Make her invest. It should never be a swap of sex, or it should never be sex, beauty, youth, fertility for wealth and status. That just doesn't work. It's going to go badly. So any questions you have about this stuff or anything else, we're here to serve you. This has been a really good one, how to get women obsessed about you. We need to do another one, how to get them obsessed without going too far so they don't go nuts on you. I've had that. I was teaching an advanced event I do to some clients. I was saying, I think it's about 12 girls in a row now where I'd used my various tricks to get them so obsessed. Some of them wouldn't reply to me for weeks, and then they sent me like 12 texts in one day going, "Oh, I made a mistake. Are you still there?" Anyway, that's a bit advanced for YouTube Live. Let's get back to questions, Tess.
Okay, we were up to Stevie's question, which is, how do I pass a woman's compliance tests without looking like I'm being controlled or appearing aggressive? James, I'm not sure exactly, like, what would you... I'd need the specific compliance test because I'm a bit confused as to feeling controlled or appearing aggressive. I mean, I always say if a woman's giving you a test of character, let's say, that the best way to approach that is not to be combative or reactive. You just have to not be phased and either like divert or diffuse. So yeah, if she's kind of testing how far can I poke this guy, how's he going to respond, that sort of thing. Never be reactive, never be aggressive. And yeah, that's the best way to deal with it. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by a compliance test. James, do you want to add to this?
Compliance test could mean something like you meet a girl you talked to 10 minutes ago, oh, buy me a drink.
Oh,
And I'll
right.
give you that. It's like, buy me a drink. I'll go, I'm not getting a drink at the moment. If you buy me a drink first or I get a drink, I can buy you one then.
Right.
Tell me what's been the highlight of the last 3 months for you, and just change the subject. So that's the way you'd handle it. You don't, in many cases, women's tests are like the most complicated thing in the known universe, because like Tess has talked about this extensively. The way she tested guys at 20 or 21 or 22 or possibly even 25, and the way she would have tested at 28 or 29 or 30 or early 30s was completely different. It's like a completely different human being. She's looking for different things out of men. So
Yeah.
the main thing is you don't want to start trading blows with women on manipulation, because in most cases they will beat you. I mean, I can beat them. I can beat most women because I've dated Russian girls with 155 IQs, and I was very good in bedroom, but not very good at materials. So I got pilloried with women's tests and figured out. I played one-on-one with Michael Jordan or something, and everyone else was very easy, stupidly easy after my experience with a particular woman. And there's a couple of others who are pretty severe too, often Soviet girl. So yeah, you don't want to start trying to test them back and play games with them. It's just like, this is a test. I'm going to either let it go, which is often what you should do, or I'm going to handle it and then just move on. An example, I can't remember if I was sitting in a cafe with a girl who was like as attractive as any of my female trainers. She was hot. And then things were going quite well. And then a girl walked in who was just fucking like not even real. I may have seen one other girl in Sydney, maybe two other girls in Sydney in my life as stupidly attractive as this. And she was wearing the tightest little fucking spray-on thing, and she had the killer push-up bra designed by SpaceX. And when she saw not so much me, but the girl I was with, I think she's like, oh, who's that? Who's that guy she's with? She wasn't looking at me, she's looking at the girl I was with. She said, oh, I'm going to cause some trouble here. So she walks up and she just starts, her hips just go woo, 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 and the boobs just like woo, 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 woo. And this was some of the greatest breast tissue that God has put in the face of the earth. And then she looked at me, and she just like with like fire in her eyes. Then she looked away. This huge, thick head of hair just flicks around. Then she walks on a step or two. Woo, 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 woo. And she looks back. And then I'm pretty sure she licked her lips and looked at me like, this is my next meal. And then the girl I'm with uses that opportunity to go, oh my God, she's so beautiful, isn't she? How would you guys handle that? Just take a moment to think. This was a point in my life where I was quite promiscuous, and I was very adept at dealing with most women's tests. So I just went, oh my God, yeah. I just went, oh yeah, she's really hot. And I turned straight back to her and said, oh, tell me about that new Pilates class that you were really excited about last time we caught up. And yeah, we were in bed, not that far, not the supremely hot, stupid one, but the really hot one. So yeah, that was just a test. She wanted to see if I would say something stupid. So generally with women's tests, it can go many ways. It's like you don't tend to want to fan the situation. You just want to handle the test. So many tests is just a case of just let it go through the wicket keeper, as we say in Australia, or the pitcher for my American friends. Sorry, that was a terrible accent. Did you want to add anything to that test, or you've already covered it?
Yeah, no, thanks, James. I think I understand the compliance tests. Like so basically if she's asking you to do things for her, like buy me a drink really early on, or maybe later on if she's asking you to just do little tasks for her, or pick her up from places, etc., blah, blah, blah. How do you handle that without being controlled or appearing aggressive if you deny that? The thing is, like, obviously, in the beginning, if it's just buying her a drink, if you don't know her well enough, or you feel like she might be using you just for a drink, then obviously you wouldn't want to buy that for her. You just say, oh no, not yet, or I don't know, or just you have to just shut it down really quickly and in a non-aggressive way, and just divert and focus on the authentic connection, right? If it's further into a relationship, I think it's nice to have a little bit of compromise and sometimes go out of the way to help your partner or your girlfriend or the woman you're dating. But if you're constantly doing that, you just come across as pathetic. So you just have to not do it all the time, and not always put her on a pedestal. Like, you've got to have your own things that are happening in your own life, and not always make her absolute number one when there are other important things going on in your life. It's important that you have your own hobbies, your interests, your own relationships outside of your relationship with the woman as well.
Next question, Ted.
Okay, so just another comment here from Initiator Hater. This is a sarcastic mindset of mine. If advanced conversation skills were taught in school in the future, they should be mandatory for men but optional for women. And leading on from that, because it's obvious that men do the heavy lifting when it comes to interactions between the two genders. Okay, so I think women would actually love that as well if men had advanced conversation skills, because I mean that's pretty much what we teach, and women love it when guys know how to lead and control a conversation in a way that the woman feels like she's also, it's about listening as well. You're allowing the woman to talk about what she wants to talk about, but that's through your advanced conversation skills. So I think women would love that. Go ahead, James.
They would. Women would naturally be better at this stuff than men, so the need is not quite as great. But having said that, post-COVID and the lockdowns and the fact that we shop from home and we exercise from home and we work from home and everything from home basically, and we socialize from home, I think women's social skills have dropped probably a lot from where they were 10 years ago. So both genders should absolutely get it, but men need it much, 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 much more desperately. And yeah, I mean, without social skills, our mating ability is basically nothing. I mean, if you've got tons of money or you're stupendously good looking, you may still be able to mate, but that's going to really hurt you. If you've got tons of money or you're stupendously good looking and you get to mate without social skills, you probably don't want to mate because it's probably just going to be endless, unyielding pain. But yeah, great question. Yeah, men definitely need it. It should be taught in school. Women need it too, but you're correct that the need is nowhere near as pressing. It's pressing, but it's like diabolical. Have to.
Okay, next question from Nobody's Perfect. I don't know if this is appropriate to discuss, but I remember you said men are much more in control of their attractiveness than women are. Absolutely, yeah. So what this is about is basically what makes men attractive is not just what God gave them, your looks. Where I think women, it is a lot more based on that. And obviously, as we age, those things go downhill, and that's a bit out of our control. I mean, obviously we have plastic surgery, etc. But yeah, yeah, we're not as in control because it is quite superficial based. Whereas what women are attracted to is a lot more around, social status, your ability to, to climb up social ladders, your emotional intelligence, your confidence, your masculinity, etc. And all of these things are kind of skills that you can learn. It's not necessarily down to what you were born with, the way you look, etc. That's not what makes men attractive to women. So yeah, I completely agree with this. James, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a liar if I said that looks don't play a part in men's attractiveness. They obviously do. Looks are important. Height is dramatically more important than looks. You can be a very average-looking guy who's tall, and you're far better off than a gorgeous guy who's short. One thing guys don't understand at all is that you say you got to be good-looking. You're far better off having high testosterone. High testosterone doesn't quite beat height, but it beats pretty much everything else. But the thing that beats everything else put together is just being well presented. Because we look at a girl, we see, oh, long, thin legs, big boobs, hip to waist ratio, symmetrical features, thick hair, colorful eyes, nice posture. We go, yeah, I'd fucking love to bang her. She's fertile as fuck. Whereas women see the way you dress, they see what people are around you, they see the way other people react to you, and that's how they get attracted. So you can be short, old, not very attractive, but you can tick all the other boxes and you can be wildly successful with women. The extreme case is, I think there's a drummer from the band The Pogues who ran through more hot girls than most rock stars put together. I mean, he was about as ugly a human being as you've ever seen in your life. He basically had, his teeth were just destroyed. It was completely destroyed. His face wasn't great either. So yeah, I mean, there's all these red pill groups just whining and complaining about women nonstop. I'm not saying some of what they say is not true, particularly stuff that just swiped from Darwin. From Charles Darwin. But yeah, we have tremendous control over our attractiveness to women. Now, if you're in the bottom 5% of short and ugly, then yeah, it's hard. There's a lot more work to become successful with women than if you're average or let alone quite a bit above average. But yeah, I'd much rather be bottom 5% man than bottom 5% woman. I mean, bottom 5% women have got no hope, really. So yeah, we're very blessed in the fact that we're men, in that we have a lot of control over our attractiveness to the other gender. Women have a fair bit of control too, but nowhere near as much as men. So, and the other thing we've got is, I'm 55 basically, and yeah, I really haven't really noticed much differences in terms of the level of attraction I get from women, or even as long as they're out of their teens. It's just, I don't think it's made really much difference at all, me being 55. Next question.
Okay. From history, have you also found that young women are way more insecure and sensitive to banter / teasing / breaking rapport than earlier generations, and wanting men to be more chalant instead of cool?
I'll handle that. I mean, yeah, they definitely have. It's just because of this woke nonsense that the younger generations have been bludgeoned with. I mean, the young men are horrific. A client of mine in Perth, Western Australia, he came to us following a horrific divorce. And this guy was an action taker, admittedly paid for private training, but still, he did the boot camp and he got great results out of it. And he was in a situation where, was he 55 or 56 or something? okay, it was 55 and did the boot camp. He might have been 56 or 57. And this guy literally had 4 girls. One was 20. And the other was, I can't remember. I'm not going to make the rest up. It was like 23, 25, 26 or something. He had 4 girls in their 20s who he was seeing at one time. Now, if that had been my old man, as long as he didn't treat my mum like shit, I'd have been like, I got the coolest dad in the whole fucking world. I'd kill to bang any one of dad's girlfriends. You'd be like worshipping your dad if you grew up in my era, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. But now the sons are like, oh my God, you're a pedophile, you're a misogynist, you're this, you're that. How can you do that? They're 30 years younger than you. It's like, I mean, just can everyone answer this question? Who, if their dad, who's say 56 or 57, and you're like still at university or your mid-20s or something, if your dad had 4 different beautiful girlfriends who were at least 30 years younger than him, would you think he was some creepy old man and some sort of pervert? Yes or no? So just answer. Please answer if you're here. Dad's a fucking legend. Dad's a pervert. Just give us some data on this. It's like, yeah, the world is since most of the people we attract, the guys who grew up in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, since that's happened, just the world has changed so much. A lot of people say, oh yeah, but Trump got in, that's all turned around. Bullshit. It's still insanely bad. It might not be quite as bad as it was when Trump came to power, but it's still shocking, the stuff you can't say. So yeah, the young people have been so completely brainwashed, much, much worse than us. So can you see any of the, so we've got, let me see. Oh, wow. Someone's saying, no, a legend. Yeah, I think it's another legend. So Peter says legend. Langdon says legend. Martin says, what's Martin say? Oh, we've got more comments coming.
I'd ask to borrow one from someone.
Sorry?
Someone said I'd ask to borrow one.
Okay, that's comment of the night. Well done, MJ Hundy. My friend's horrified if he won't hang out with friends who do that. I don't care. I have no problem with it. Yeah, so there wasn't really much objection. There might be in the comments when it goes. If you object to this in the live video, let us know. But most guys would be like, oh, my dad's the best. I'm so proud of my dad. Dad, can I hang out with you? Dad, can I pick up girls with you? I mean, it'd be the old. I mean, so many guys want to give their sons the training they got from us. Even though we don't really deal with guys under 40 now that often, if ever. So yeah, great question. So yeah, you probably are going to get a lot of women who are a lot more prickly, young women who are much more prickly than they would have been even 10 years ago. That's just part of life. Yeah, the percentage of young women who are horrified by an older man is probably much higher now than it was previously. Having said that, because the younger generation of men has been so completely destroyed in terms of anything that looks like a man, there's probably much more demand amongst younger girls for older guys, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s where we climbed trees and played on building sites and played footy, played cricket in my case, we got in fights, we surfed, we did real man shit. We walked around the neighborhood till all hours hanging out with our friends, whereas now a mother who lets a child walk 500 meters to see his friend is considered a delinquent mother because, whatever, pedophiles or whatever the fear is. So yeah, that's a great question, but we're getting a bit deep into not getting you guys laid. Excellent question. Move on from that, Tess, unless you want to add something to it.
I agree with you, James, about it is just about all the PC wokeness stuff that younger people are exposed to nowadays. I think wanting men to be more chalant instead of cool. I'm not sure if I completely agree with that. I mean, chalant. I think you mean like genuinely interested.
I think he means I don't know. Maybe I don't know all these internet words.
Yeah, to be more chalant means more like genuinely interested. It's like the opposite of nonchalant. I think that women have always wanted men to be genuinely interested, but not showing it in a way that's like overt. You still have to be cool in the way that we've discussed tonight. You know, playing the game a little bit, because if you're just saying overtly saying, "I'm really interested in you, I'm attracted to you," blah blah blah. You're making it way too easy for her, and it makes you. There'll be less desire there, right? So you do have to be cool in the way of like creating desire for her. Like that's really important. But yeah, being genuinely interested it comes across in the way you listen to her and you engage with her in conversation. So both of those things are important. Be interested, show her that you're interested through being 100% present with her and engaging with her in conversation. But you got to be cool as well. Don't just hand everything to her on a silver platter. You've got to play the game a little bit.
I'm learning
Okay.
new words. Apparently, that word's only been in English since 2025. There's a spate of new words in English language with the internet that I don't pretend to understand.
I think that's why it's in inverted commas, like chalant. Okay, so next question from Stevie. How do I read her signals to know if she's actually getting wildly attached or just being polite?
Just give them a 3-second reading signals thing.
Yeah, if she's like playing with her hair and playing with her necklace and leaning on the table and going like that, or yeah, all of these sorts of things. You know, she's responding to your touch and maybe touching you back and all this sort of stuff. That's all really really positive stuff. You know, if she's being polite, she yeah, if you're touching her and try to escalate, she might pull away, or you know, or she might accept it, but she might kind of be like looking away and not really wanting to make eye contact with you and whatever. And same with in texting, if she's kind of answering your questions but not asking you questions back and it slowly trails away. I just think that if a woman's just being polite, that's not going to last for long anyway. So you'll kind of know that she probably won't have the energy to give you unless she's really just loving the validation and the attention. And that's what it's about for her. So yeah, I think where it might be more confusing is between being wildly attached and just wanting validation. That's where it's more confusing rather than just being polite. I think it's quite obvious like when she's just being polite. Yeah. James, do you want to add to
that? Yeah, Tess has done a good job and a great demonstration. If she rubs her boob against you, she's interested in you. Even if you're in a mosh pit, she's going to protect him with her arms. So yeah, a lot of my advanced clients weren't complete. Oh, but yeah, she might have just had an itchy boob and she had her hands full, so she needed to rub it on something and it was really itchy and I was the closest thing to rub it on. Maybe that's why she rubbed her boobs against me. No, she likes you. Or she's had an athletic fit or something, one of the two. Anyway, let's move on. Next question.
Okay. Just as I'm getting to the next one, History was saying, thank you very much for this detailed answer. You're welcome. We're always here to answer your questions. Okay, here we go. Question from Wayne. How do I use silence to build sexual tension without it becoming awkward or creepy? That's a good question. Yeah, so we talk about using pauses. Pauses are really important. They make you seem more attractive because you're not rushing in and getting all excited and needing to respond straight away in conversation. So you come across as cool, calm, and collected, not trying too hard, more desirable, right? But you can also use pauses along with eye contact and some other eye contact techniques that we teach to intentionally build sexual tension as well. So without it being awkward or creepy, basically eye contact, just body language just has to be really grounded, no fidgeting, etc. So it doesn't become awkward. If you start like looking away and being like doing weird stuff like that, it's going to be awkward. But if you have a comfortable pause where you're just looking her in the eye, and then you might smile and just respond, then that can help to build sexual tension for sure. So yeah, it's about your body language.
Yeah, it's all about getting girls obsessed. Silence plus good eye contact plus great questions pre the silence where she's really enjoying herself, plus good touch. Yeah, it gets back to reading signals. If the girl's sort of like not really interested, getting bored, then you can't be holding long periods of silence because you're just going to weird her out. But if she's really into you, looking at you, leaning forward, potentially touching you, then you want to leave a lot of silence. One of the huge mistakes nearly every client we ever coach makes is you just don't leave enough silence. Like if you look at the great public speakers, if you look at much of the great pieces of music, if you look at the great communicators, silence is so powerful. What the silence says can often be more important than another 1,000 words. Okie dokie, next question, Tess.
Okay, Peter Dixon says, James, do you think women can improve their dating results through increasing their skills as much as what men can, or is women's results based purely off their looks?
That is an excellent question. I was once invited to, I think it was the 34th or 33rd party of a model. She'd somehow got the house of one of the richer men in Sydney for the party. And I was invited there. And at this time, I had 2 bisexual girlfriends. I brought one of them with me. And the girl who invited me to the party, my girlfriend was like, I don't know, 22, 23 or something at this stage. And the girl was obviously 33, 34, whatever it was. And she was trying to use me to get this completely straight Russian girl who she was very into, because the model was mainly bisexual. She was more on the lesbian side than the likes guys side. I watched her seducing this initially very reluctant Russian girl, the way she used crazy amounts of energy, sweetness, flirtation, skillful touch in her erogenous zones, trying to recruit me and my girlfriend into the thing. And this was like, if anyone remembers when Michael Jordan catches a ball, runs away from John Starks, runs into Anthony Mason, I think, does this like ballerina move where he spins around on the spot and just runs straight past Anthony Mason after running past him, and then completely tattoos Spalding all over Patrick Ewing's face. Anyway, that's one of the greatest moments of TV I've ever seen. That's what me watching this girl seduce this Russian girl was like. And I'm a professional dating coach. I'm like, this girl is at a level I can't even fathom. She's so fucking good at this. It was extraordinary how good this woman was at seducing other human beings. Equally, if you look at my female coaches, I ask my clients, who would you most like to date? If you could date any of my female trainers, and who would you most like to have sex with? Obviously, women's success is determined largely by their age, their fertility, their beauty, breast size, slim, etc., lack of clear skin, all this stuff. But so often the girls who are the sexiest or the most dateable are not the most beautiful. They're not the most beautiful. We had a time where there was one girl who was Eastern European born, Swedish raised, and she was on boot camps with, you can see them on my YouTube channel, Never the swimsuit model, Monique, the sort of New York Fashion Week redhead catwalk model, Val, the Russian model, who's done a bunch of work and had major campaigns, Jackie, who you can see all over the YouTube channel. And they're all like, and I asked like 10 guys, okay, who would you most like to sleep with? 9 said this girl called Alex. And the Indian one who said, "Oh, I would go Monique. Monique's the most beautiful girl in the whole wide world." Because the Indian men and the Pakistani men, they love their redheads. And Monique was quite an attractive redhead. So yeah, there's a skill that men is mission critical for men. If you don't have it, you're basically going to fail. That so many beautiful women don't end up with good guys, or a lot of them end up single because they don't have the skill. So women can improve their dating results massively by increasing their skill. And hopefully, if I get my business and marketing and hiring together, I'll have a go at being a woman's dating coach. I think I'll be a really, really good one because I'm an expert in what the men they want the most, where they fuck up, as long as one of them doesn't stick a knife in me or something, or shoot me, because some of them might, just tell the truth. So yeah, women can improve their results massively, but a girl as attractive as Tess, or even a above average looking girl, she's going to be able to get a man, and she's going to be somewhat happy, you'd think, as long as she's not too fussy. But learning the skill can just send her results to a completely new level. One of the girls I dated, was several of them, but one of them, several of them, but one I'm thinking of now, she was incredibly good at communicating sexual interest to guys while being really sweet, while being really feminine, while without being sleazy or slutty. She had this talent in a big way. I remember her using it on me, and when I got sick of her and whatever, I saw her use it on other people, and she was very, very good at it. So it's definitely a skill that a woman can learn. If you've got any single friends, I don't know, we should do a YouTube live for women at some point. So yeah, but for women, it's going to help you a lot. For men, it's completely mission critical. Even if you are tall, rich, and handsome with a big, huge black schlong, you have to learn it. Women should learn it anyway. Next question. Did you want to add to that, Tess?
No, I think you covered that really well, James.
Okay. I'm sure every girl's got some really beautiful, wonderful girlfriends who are constantly single, drinking red wine on their inner city balcony, patting their cats, watching Sex and the City reruns, crying their eyes out with their $300,000 a career, going, "Am I ever going to have children?" Whilst holidaying in Barts and Saint-Tropez. Anyway, enough of my cliches. Let's move on. Great question, Peter.
Okay. Stevie says, if she's used to manipulating men, how will she react when she realizes that I'm using these tools on her?
I would suck his penis.
Exactly. I was going to say.
Very, very attractive.
She's going to be attracted. Yeah, this is, yeah, it works both ways. She's going to think, wow, this guy, yeah, he's not pathetic. He's intelligent. He's socially aware. He knows what's up. And yeah, she's going to be really attracted.
He's pre-selected by a whole bunch of hot women. Many of them are hotter than me. I want to fuck him right now. This is what goes through women's mind. It's so funny. You're crazy. Also, they couldn't give a shit about you. You pay little or no attention to them apart from a little glance up and down. Like, I'm going to get him. I'm going to make him mine. I'm going to beat the other girls. Sorry, Tess?
Yeah, it's also just even like on a subconscious level as well. She's just going to be interested. She's going to want more. She's going to be hooked, basically.
Just to round that question out, she may want to test back as well. So you don't want to do it too overtly. You don't want to sort of throw it in her face that you're sort of obliterating her tests. But she's going to be, I think it's about the most attractive thing a man can ever do is pass a woman's test really well, because it just says so much about the man. That's certainly been the case with our clients. Once they do some of my advanced training, the results just basically go Bitcoin. Go again. Next question.
Okay. All right. So Martin, how do I create an emotional roller coaster so she stays excited instead of feeling safe and eventually bored? Interesting question. It doesn't necessarily have to be an emotional roller coaster where she's, that's not what women are necessarily looking for all the time. But I think where I talked in the past about her feeling bored is where that happens when a woman knows she has full control of the relationship. She's got the guy eating out of the palm of her hand, and to him, to her, he's just pathetic and useless, basically. So that's where it can become really, really boring, and she's going to feel like it's not stimulating, it's not challenging. There's no allure and desire. It's boring. So you don't necessarily have to create an emotional roller coaster, let's say, but you need to create balance in terms of, I think the masculine feminine polarity is really important, but also like the power dynamics. Like she can't have all of the power because that also makes it feel like she's taking a heavy amount of the masculine role, let's say, as well. So it is all just about balance. How do you do that? It really depends on the given relationship, but it's really, really important for you to have your own interests, your own hobbies, your own passions that mean you have a life outside of your life with that woman. That's going to keep her interested in itself, because it means that you haven't put her on a pedestal and she's not the only thing that's going on in your life. You've got other things happening as well, which means she knows that she has to compete for your time a little bit, compete for your attention a little bit. Those things can help to make it feel less boring for her.
That's a great question. I'll just do this quickly, but it's really everything that we've talked about tonight. Screen her hard. Don't be replying straight away. Ghost her a bit. Ask fucking amazing questions. A killer date plan would be like, what's he going to do next? I'm having so much fun. He's asking great questions. He's touching me. Oh, I want to sleep with him. This is so good. This could be the next love of my life. Cracker psychology, you're really got to understand women's psychology in games. If you can pass their tests, they just throw themselves at you. Shut the fuck up. For fuck's sake, shut the fuck up. Stop talking about yourself. I'm not perfect. And listen and ask really good questions, as we've covered. And make her invest in you. Don't just make her come some distance for the date. If you buy a dinner, which I think is a chronic mistake, make her buy you a drink or a cup of coffee or something like that. So if you do all of that, I think that's going to send you off to a flying start at putting on this emotional roller coaster ride. But yes, so much is just discovering her as a woman and having a good date plan and escalating. Next question, Tess.
Okay. Another question from Martin. James and Tess, a friend of mine who is good at this has mentioned that believability is a big sticking point. Do they believe you're really interested in her? So I think what you're saying is believability is a big sticking point for him, where the women don't believe that he's actually interested in her. Is that what I think that's what he's saying?
Is this a female friend of yours or a male friend of yours? We need more context on the question. And is it in terms of, if it's a woman saying honesty's a big sticking point? Do they believe you're? Oh, sorry, it is a woman. Do they believe you're really interested in her? I'd love to know the age of the woman. I don't think Tess had too much ambiguity in her mind about guys being interested in her when she was 22, a model in New York. Unless it was Leonardo DiCaprio, he might have been like, "Oh, I probably got better than her tonight." But yeah, just no offense, Tess.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's like I don't think she was in too much doubt about a man's sexual attraction to her. There may have been. It could have been, is he sexually attracted enough to spend time and invest in me, potentially? But just explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, if you could explain that a bit more, we can help answer that question.
And if you give me an approximate age of the woman, because, yeah, it's not so much the age of the woman, it's the age difference between the man and the woman. Because, if there's a 25-year age gap and the guy's 65, what's she? She's 40, but you'd expect, she's a much younger woman to the 65-year-old.
Okay,
so the guy's male.
Yeah.
I didn't see the question again. Sorry. Anyone who's good at this? It's going to depend what age of woman he's after. If he's like a really good-looking, confident guy, there could be a suspicion with girls who aren't stupidly hot or they don't have a lot in common that he just wants to bang her, and they don't want to just another conquest, which is a huge fear of many women, particularly the most attractive women. That was one of the biggest sticking points I had when I was trying to sleep with a bunch of models in the 2000s. They're like, yeah, well, he wants to fuck me, but does he want me, or does he just want to tell everyone he slept with another model? Which, and for, I mean, one of the reasons a lot of models are so fucked up is because they date all these guys who don't give a shit about them. They're just doing it for the ego.
Yeah, so here's Martin as well, clarifying, no, if you're interested in them when approaching them, 20s, 30s, maybe 20 years. So maybe 20 years age gap. So yeah, I can actually relate to this being a young woman. Yeah, obviously when I was younger, yeah, I think women in their early 20s, etc., may not have the same level of self-esteem as women in their 30s, etc. So it's just because they're young and naive. So when an older, really attractive, desirable guy, a confident guy comes and approaches them, sometimes, yeah, I remember thinking, God, could this guy really be interested in me? Like, this guy's really attractive. He's a desirable guy. Like, what's he like? Why would he want to be with me? I'm just like, yeah, like, because I didn't have the level of self-esteem to back myself. I was like, is he actually interested in me or what? You question that. So yeah, if you do come across as super desirable and confident, younger women could definitely be questioning that. But also as well, if you are too aloof and distant as well, there might be some, that might be questionable as well. She's like, what's his intention with me? So finding that balance as well is quite important. Like, obviously, building sexual attraction through all of the escalation stuff we talked about, touch, eye contact, body language, everything we've been talking about tonight, so that it's obvious to her, no, this guy's interested in me. That's important too.
That's why so much of Social Coach, in terms of getting you the highest quality women you can ever get and have a good relationship with them and sweeping them off their feet, so much of it is about trying to quickly elicit, what do you guys have in common? Why should you date her? So if I met Tess and I wanted to date her, and I found out she's doing shit like paragliding, I'm like, oh my God, you're a paraglider. Tell me more about that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've skydived a bunch of times. I've done every crazy thing I can think of, but I haven't done that one. Tell me more about paragliding. I'd be like jumping on her basically just because of that alone. And then she'd be like, oh, okay, this guy, it's not just he wants to get into my pants. He really loves one of my major hobbies in life. So it's about finding girls where there's actually a proper rapport, not just trying to bang every girl you can. Like, a lot of that, I mean, excuse me, in initial stages, you still might want to sleep with quite a few girls, especially to find one worthy of a relationship for you. But yeah, you want to find girls where there's some sort of link, there's some sort of commonality. It's not just a pure exchange of whatever, money or confidence for beauty. Okay, next question.
Okay. Landon says, how do I handle a 20-year age gap without sounding like a father or a creepy older guy?
I'll handle that because I got lots of experience. Yeah, you just got to have a genuine connection with the girl. Like, one of the first questions I ask women is, tell me about the last great book you read. And then if I get something anywhere near decent, I'm asking about favorite books they've read. I'm also asking stuff about travel. I'll ask stuff about I go in through yoga or health, but I'm asking about sort of meditation. What do you think happens when you die? So the big philosophical, spiritual questions in life. I'm trying to find the girl who's a hell of a lot younger than me, but it's also like quite a substantial human being. If we had a pickup competition of me going to pick up girls at nightclubs, I mean, I'm going to beat the average guy pretty soundly, but I'm not going to be exceptional. Whereas you send me into a decent bookstore in New York or somewhere in Eastern Europe, I mean, I think I'll fucking destroy. I'd like to see people beat me. So yeah, I'm chasing, or if it's with hardcore travelers, again, I'd like to see people beat me. But again, I'm excelling at girls where their interests are very close to mine, not just some fucking idiot in a club with a tit stuck up looking for attention, trying to suck the DJ or some celebrity's dick. So yeah, how do I handle a 20-year age gap without sounding like creepy, like a father or a creepy older guy? You pick girls, you pursue girls, as we said at the start, you screen girls for girls who you're really interested in.
Yeah, and then again, when you're like complimenting her and building connection, focus on things about, her hobbies, her interests, what, like, the similarities you have, the way she views the world, etc. Not like creepy stuff like, oh, you've got such a young, tight body or something weird like that. Just, it's not about her youth and her beauty. It's about yeah, everything James said and what I've just mentioned. Okay, so moving on. Stevie says, how do I use these tactics to find a long-term dream girl rather than a short-term fling? Cool.
I might handle that. They are designed to get you women. Social coach, I was essentially a virgin till 31. You could argue I had a tiny bit of sex at 27. So I never did what many other dating coaches. I just want to bang as many women as humanly possible in my 20s. As long as they're 7s and above or 6s and above, I want to fuck them. I never did that. I never wanted to do it. So it was always, social coach in the very beginning was always designed to get me women I legitimately wanted to be with. There were sometimes the girl's a model, or I was in a country and I wanted someone for my ego or for practical reasons. I just wanted a tour guide in a country. But most of the girls I've slept with, I had some genuine level of attraction to for things other than the way they looked and their youth and beauty, whatever. So all these tactics are designed to find your dream girl. But whether you like to do it or not, you're probably going to have to kiss a bunch of frogs before you can come anywhere near your dream girl. I've got a pretty good idea what my dream girl looks like. Most of you guys, no offense, you got no fucking clue, because what you think you want will change massively once you start finding out. A girl I was pretty much effectively in love with when I was working in finance in my late 20s and early 30s, which is a really attractive girl. I don't think I'd have slept with her 3 times in my early 30s once I met some girls I really, really liked, because she was just boring. She's just really boring. But given my small sample size of women and the fact I couldn't approach or do anything, of the girls that had been put in front of me, this girl was really beautiful and she was interested in me because she knew about my situation. So just how do I use these tactics to find a dream girl? Just all the tactics: touch, eye contact, body language, elite level conversation skills, especially open-ended feelings and emotion, open-ended, big motherfucker feelings and emotion, open-ended questions. Just ask them, really connect with the girl. And the truth is, to find your dream girl, you're going to have to find a bunch of other girls and figure out which one really is your dream girl. Because the number of times I've had some girl, I'm like, oh, this is going to be one of the 3 great or one of the 5 great women of my life. And I think this for a day or 2 or an hour or 2, sometimes a week or 2. I'm like, she's fucking nuts. Get me away from this girl. One of the girls where I had the strongest belief that this girl was going to be a great one of my life. I only got to sleep with her once because she went batshit crazy on me and she was fucking around with the knives in my kitchen. I was like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, use all these tactics, and they're designed to help you find someone you want to share at least part of your life with. They'll work very, very well for a short-term fling. It's a hell of a lot easier to sleep with a girl where you've got a lot in common than just some random thing. Tess, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, a lot of these things that we've been talking about are about the approach, the conversation, the early dating phase, setting the hook, creating that dynamic where she wants more, etc. So obviously that pertains a little bit more to the short term or the early part of the dating. But if you do decide that this is actually your dream girl and you want something long term, obviously that that playing the game, I think, dissolves a little bit after a little while. Like once you actually spend a lot more time together and you understand each other's schedules, and you become more devoted to each other, or like monogamous, let's say, then if that's what you want or if that's where it's heading, then I think that sort of game playing stuff dissolves naturally. And you know, then I think that obviously having good communication, trust, respect, that's honesty, all of those things are really, really important. But again, still not putting her on a pedestal is going to be really, really important throughout the entire relationship. And I've said this before, but that doesn't mean you have to be rude to her or deny her certain things when she needs help with something, when she legitimately needs help. Like, no, not at all. But it just means that she's not the one and only thing in your life. Like, you need to have things outside of your relationship with her that keep her on her toes a little bit. You know, like she needs to compete for your attention a little bit in some way. You know, you might have family relationships, friends, other hobbies and interests, passions that you have as well, so that she knows that she's not in full control of your life, right? Okay, moving on.
Thanks for all the great questions tonight, guys. You better get through these because I don't want to do a 3-hour one, and you probably want to.
Yes, we are. The time is, we're at 2.5 hours. So let's see. Stevie is asking, how do I use the pre-selection effect, the idea that other women want me, without being an arrogant jerk? I can just quickly say, well, basically, the thing is, by we talk about being a prominent figure in different social settings, right? So we talk about social proofing and making yourself come across as a desirable man. That doesn't make you look arrogant at all. That just makes you, it draws the woman's attention, right? So if you're able to have the social skills to network and to be a prominent figure in any social setting, whether that be, I don't know, your local cafe or a bar that you go to frequently, or in your workplace, etc. Or if you're going to a speed dating event or a singles meetup and you're just the guy who's able to take command of that setting, the women, that's going to draw the attention of the women. You're not looking like an arrogant jerk at all. You're looking like a charismatic, masculine, confident guy. So it doesn't translate to being an arrogant jerk at all. The only way you would come across as an arrogant jerk is if you're like rude to people, or you're overconfident, as in when we talk about confidence, it's about self-esteem. It's not about just saying I'm better than everyone else, I don't care what anyone says. There's a difference there. So yeah.
What if it's a Dan Blitzerian type situation where the guy's intentionally coming out with a whole bunch of very attractive, well, what he considers very attractive women? I don't really like most of them. This is sort of the plastic fantastic crowd. But what a lot of guys consider very attractive women, in order to spike the attraction of other women, could that ever bleed over to being an arrogant jerk?
Potentially, if he's like rude.
Again, he's got to be rude or something. So yeah, just I was at a business mastermind recently where I wasn't there to meet girls. I went there to try to get away from girls. but there was a handful of girls, one of them extremely attractive, like really fucking hot girl. And they showed massive interest in me despite absurd age differences in most cases. But part of the reason was, as soon as I got there, I'm like, there's a lot of smart people here. There's a lot of smart young people. So I network like crazy, which you'd hope I'm pretty good at, given I'm a dating coach. So I was probably one of the most prominent people out of the whole, whatever it was, 200, 250 people. So the fact that I was getting all this attention from men made the women want me, because it was very hard for them to talk to me because I was always surrounded by guys. So the tiny, I can count on my one hand, probably count them on some fingers, the number of girls there who were like attractive enough for me to consider sleeping with them, they were all just throwing themselves at me because I was getting all this energy from all the men in this case. And then whenever there was other women, from them. Next point. Next question.
Yes, we are up to, okay. Landon says, if her friends try to talk her out of the age gap, what is the best high status way to handle that social pressure?
I'll handle that. That's going to happen a lot. And they probably won't go in straight away with the age. They'll probably mention lots of other stuff. They won't try to make it about age. You've just got to be the best guy you can be. And just everything we've talked about, touch, eye contact, body language, be a good guy, have a good date plan, really listen to her, give her a good experience. If it is someone you're thinking of being with long term, sort of gently let her know that, because her friends will try to, in many cases, the friends and especially the family will try to drive a wedge between the two of you. Sometimes it might be genuinely for her own good, they think. But yeah, it's going to happen quite a bit. Again, I'm a guy who in his early 40s was dating women 21, 22, even 18, quite consistently. So there was a huge amount of pressure there. But if you guys are like 55 dating 30-year-olds, I don't think the social pressure is anywhere near as extreme. What do you think, Tess?
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally the friends should approve of you. If you're able to, I think that's quite important. If they don't, that's definitely an issue. Yeah, especially
you can
friends
do a really good job with the friends, where I know most of the time the girls with their friends at least like me. Some of them really like me. Some of them hit on me, even though I'm with their girlfriend. But there's times where you do an equally good job, but just because of the age difference or because of something about you, they just don't want you. Or one of the instances I've had twice, where the girl I was dating was quite clearly the most physically attractive of her close group of friends, and they were like maniacal about get this fucking old guy away from our girlfriend because she's their meal ticket. So if you had a situation where the girl was more mid-range of her close group of girlfriends, it might not be so pronounced. The best high status way to handle it is just to be a good guy for her, fuck her really well, pass her tests, and be a good boyfriend, and she'll be less likely to do it. If that doesn't work, you could just say, listen, I think they're just jealous.
Because I think if the woman's legitimately happy in the relationship, she can just tell her friends, like, no, this is the best guy I've ever been with. Like, I'm really, really happy, and I'm sure they would be in full support of that. If
he's manipulating you, he's in control of you, you stupid little girl, you can't see it. They'll say that sort of stuff, sometimes in front of you.
Yeah, but if she's happy, she's happy. Like, I don't know.
He's conning you.
Well, he's conned me into being happy. Well, that's an amazing con. Yeah.
It's an illusion. Okay. You silly little girl.
Oh, how funny.
Anyway, let's move on. So just be a good guy and do all the stuff we teach you to answer.
Okay. So Peter's asking me a question, not a dating question. Tess, how have you kept your skin looking so young for your age? Thank you, Peter. Well, basically, I got it from my mom. I don't know if you yeah, I have Asian. I'm half Asian. My background. So we are blessed with what is it? Yeah, we just age gracefully. I think you should see my mum. She turns 71 this year, and she looks like she could be. She looks better than some like 50-year-olds I've seen. I reckon she could be in her like late 40s, early 50s. She looks amazing, amazing for her age. So luckily, I got passed on some of those genes. I haven't had to use Botox yet, which is nice. Although I do have a little thing there which I've been watching. Anyway, and also sun. I stay out of the sun, which is quite hard for a surfer like me, but I do my best. So moving on.
I just push back on that. Like, yeah, you've got Asian ethnicity, but all guys go, oh, Asian girls have the softest skin. They have the softest skin. It's so good, which is 100% true. I'm not denying that for 1 second. But then if you give Western girls a really healthy diet, their skin's crazy soft as well. So people constantly attribute stuff to genetics, which so often I think is environment.
A lot of it's environment, James, but yeah, but I still would argue that some ethnicities have more like elasticity in their skin and retain collagen, etc. Over others. Like I think there's a big genetic.
How much Macca's do you eat?
Me, I don't eat much Macca's, but I do spend a lot of time in the sun. So, I mean, yeah.
I'm 55. You can barely see a wrinkle anywhere. I've spent more time in the sun than anyone. I was like on my way to being a high-level cricketer. And then the amount of time, I grew up in Perth, Western Australia. I'm still getting burnt the whole time. But what goes inside my body means I've barely got a wrinkle anywhere. And I've had more sun than pretty much anyone. So yeah, but I mean, you do a lot of yoga, you eat well, you're doing lots of healthy things, you're constantly exercising, you're out in nature. Anyway, we can debate this another time. I think in so many cases, nature, in terms of people getting diseases and people getting sick, I think it's massively overrated. I'm not saying it's not a big thing, but I think people attribute far too much weight to it. And I've had a bit of a sample size of women who weren't Asian, who had crazy soft skin. And then occasionally you get an Asian Aussie girl who talks like this. She's come a full Aussie apart from the slanty eyes, whose skin isn't that fantastic because she's been chowing down on Macca's and getting drunk every weekend at the Ivy. And she might look pretty sexy, but just doesn't taste very good. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay,
Luke, but I think people overrate that.
So Luke is asking, hi James, can you describe your dream girl that you talked about? What qualifies her above the rest and the ones you let go?
I basically let every single one go. There's one I changed my mind and then realized I couldn't, and that freaked me out and caused me more pain than anything else in history. There's two women that stand out above all else. One was like insanely beautiful, insanely sexual, absurdly honest. She was a very, very good person. It's a funny way to describe it, but I think she was like an old soul. She's just 23 going on 43 or 53. She was very mature. Again, so often it comes back to she had quite remarkable parents. Her dad had a PhD in engineering and he'd lived around the world, and her mum, can't remember what she did. She's a ecologist or a teacher turned art dealer. Good family. It was a Catholic upbringing, but not too crazy. And she was just a really, really good person. She was, I thought, insanely beautiful, but she was very aware that gave her privileges and a life. And yeah, I mean, I think that was it. Just a very good person. I think she would have just been the best mother of any girl I ever got to spend time with, which is probably the ultimate thing. Just very honest, very beautiful. And the other one, who stands out, was smarter than pretty much any other human being I've ever known, stronger than nearly all the men I've been with emotionally, incredibly charismatic. And I did some of my most hardcore travel with her. And the two of us had a connection I haven't really been able to replicate ever. I haven't really even got close. And I was just completely in awe of her. So my dream is to get like a hybrid of those two women somewhere around 22 or 23, who's preferably a naturopath or something. So that's what I'm looking for. So I'm plotting how to get off to Soviet countries where something that's realistic. And yeah, the top 6 women of my life, probably the top 10 women of my life, they've all been very big readers, and they've all tended to be at least 5'7", often 5'10", 5'11", and there's not too many fatties in there, just quietly. Yeah, my old fella doesn't work too well with a bit of extra body fat. So yeah, feel free to ask any follow-on questions in that. But the number one characteristic is just honesty. You trust them, and if you do have hard times or awkward times or disagreements, she can talk about it in a very constructive, non-crazy, toxic girl manner. That would be it. There was another girl who was the third greatest woman of my life. She wasn't strong enough emotionally. She was a bit fragile that way, to actually date me long term. But it's the same story. Just quite impressive parents. Traveled around the world. Her father was a management consultant. The love one was a model. The greatest one wasn't a model, and this one had been a model, but she was just an angel. And just when I was with her, I was so happy. So the other thing was with the greatest woman, like a day with her was like a week or two with her. It's like New York City in the 2000s. It's like a day in New York is maybe equivalent to 3 or 4 days in London, equivalent to a month or two in Sydney, equivalent to maybe 3 to 6 months in somewhere like Perth or Adelaide. Ask any follow-on questions for that. That's a great question.
Okay.
I'll answer it finally. I never had to try in terms of it was always easy. Not to seduce them, that the greatest woman of my life put me through hell on earth to get near her panties. But I was never having to think about there wasn't a single uncomfortable moment the entire time I was with those two women, even though there was some quite stressful times. Great question, Luke, as always.
Cool. Welcome. We've got some people just tuning in now, so welcome. Not sure how much longer we're going to go for, but we're here to serve you. Stevie says, when she pulls away to test my strength, what is the high status response that makes her come back and chase harder?
That's a good question. I need to know more specifics about the situation. It's probably not to chase back. It's just to be cool, not start texting her, not start calling her, get on with your own life. Leave it a while. Generally, in most cases, you shouldn't double text women. I've broken that rule occasionally, but it's usually because something's come up that justifies it. You just got to accept that women play games, and they're going to play a lot at the start. And the hotter they are, the more games they're going to play. And they're doing it to protect themselves from a stalker or a bad situation, or to see how high status you are. So the high status response is, if she pulls away, just don't stress about it. Tess, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with that. You don't want to just be chasing her straight away and looking pathetic. But at the same time, if she's doing that constantly to get more validation, what she's probably looking for is a little bit more attention in general. So you have to make her feel valued enough that she doesn't feel the need to do that, so that you don't have to keep dealing with that. So it's about finding that balance. And I think the communication helps with that as well. It obviously depends at what stage of the relationship you're in. if it's very early dating, it's hard to just be really upfront with that stuff because there is a lot of game playing. But if things were to move forward and get more serious, etc., then you could just talk about that. Okay, so History is asking, how much practice time do you advise your clients to put in weekly at a minimum for meeting women to realistically see good results? How much time do they need to get good? This varies drastically, and also it depends on the person. It also depends. So I don't believe we've worked with you, History.
I might answer that quickly.
Yeah.
If you're working with, we coach a lot of very, very, very stupidly busy guys. But the way I've structured things post-COVID is you do Zoom calls that last 45 minutes with Tess, and then she sets you homework. We try to get you to do stuff like speed dating. We try to get you to go to places like, I don't know, yoga studios or gyms or something you're interested in, and you've got homework to complete. So if you just do, if you're a really busy guy, start with a double date, do 90 minutes with Tess, including her feedback, and do her homework. Then if you maybe do a date every week for 3 weeks, then drop back to like a date every 2 weeks and try to at least attempt some of the homework that she gives you. And you've obviously got to come to boot camp and then probably go out maybe once every 2 weeks at least following that. And then you can just practice these skills when you're paying for groceries, or when you're shopping, or when you're at the gym with a receptionist, or when you're at the dentist with a receptionist. You can use it, and if you've got a job where you're not stuck over a computer the whole time, you can use them at meetings. So a lot of guys can get a long, long way without devoting hours and hours a week. Some of my competitors say, oh, you got to go out 7 nights a week relentlessly for 3 years. Bullshit. We've had guys get insane results just off a handful of Zoom calls with Tess. Again, we've been doing this 20 years. We're fucking ridiculously good at it, and people are still copying me. So yeah, if you actually execute on what Tess tells you and you follow the method, you'd be astounded how quickly you can fly. I shared earlier a client who I really like. He's a good guy. He's a very, very good looking guy. He's sort of implemented some stuff and ignored a bunch of other stuff, and he's complaining he's not getting the results that he wanted. He's like, oh, why? I got all this attention last night. Why didn't something come out of it? Because he's missing a whole bunch of other stuff. So it gets back to the metaphor of the bucket. You got a bucket and you want to pour water in it. If there's a big hole in the bucket, there's a shitload of water going to pour out, and you can pour tons of attention. Sorry, I look like I'm doing horrible sexual things. And you can pour a ton of water into the top of that, but then it just leaks out. So if you just follow what Tess and I have told you and just get the most basic grasp of the method, and you don't leave anything out, in terms of dating women way better than you ever have before, do the calls with Tess. Do a little bit of the homework, maybe get along to speed dating, and then just practice the basic communication skills you go about your day-to-day life. You can be dating the hottest girl you've ever been with in your life 2 weeks from now easily. I mean, we've had clients who report this back, and they go, those questions you give me, they're insane. Women go nuts. I just touch them on the shoulder and they ask me out. This shit happens all the time, like all the time. Then you get some guys who do our programs and just want to do their own thing or ignore big chunks of it, and they obviously don't do as well. So you have to define good. Do you mean like having threesomes with models if you're an average looking guy? That might take a little bit of time, but if you just want to get women more attracted to you than you've ever had before, hotter women than you've ever had before, I mean, that might happen in 2 weeks easily. Just it's like I say, when book the 45-minute call, even if you don't do anything with us and become a proper client, if you just fix up the 1 or 2 things that are holding you back the most, you'll go nuts. You'll go absolutely nuts. So yeah, I haven't seen you work with a female coach. I'll finish this with, it's so fucking stupendously easy to beat the average American Australian, Canadian, English, Dutch, German, Swedish, Norwegian, these days Spanish guy. It's a joke. And with the post-Harvey Weinstein thing, so many of the best guys have just pulled out the game altogether and they're stuck on sugar daddy sites or just addicted to porn. So yeah, you only need to do a tiny bit of effort and not have any gaping holes, and you could be shocked to the core with the girl you're dating 2 weeks from now, easily a month from now, provided you actually follow through on some of the stuff we do. You want anything to that, Tess?
No, I think you answered that really well, James. And yeah, it kind of it depends on how many mistakes we have to fix. But and also your attitude towards things, because we've seen clients who have excelled at amazing rates and just done so well just off a few Zoom calls, and others who need quite a bit more than that, just depending on how many mistakes and your attitude. Yeah.
Attitude's huge. If when Tess gives you a list of things to do, you're jumping out, making sure you do the first and the second after every call, you will completely astound yourself with who you're dating a month from now. And I don't care if you're 63 years old and the bottom 10 or 20% of attractive men, you don't have that much money, you'll astound yourself, because there's no competition in the Western world. You have to get that through your thick head. The results I'm getting and the interest I'm getting from women over 30 years younger than me, if you'd told me this when I was 40 or 35, I'd have said, you are smoking the fucking crack pipe. There's no way this can be happening to essentially a 55-year-old. But it's just the state of the world and how most men have checked out, or they're so destroyed, and woke culture and Me Too culture has just basically destroyed dating. Kind of intentional to divide and conquer the sexes. Anyway, sorry about the rant. Great question, History Jerk. Anyone's interested, there should be a link below. Just click that, tell us your age, occupation, and we'll get you on a date with Tess soon, as long as you're not a complete fucking weirdo. Go for it.
Okay, question from Lee. Why do women play hot and cold games? Okay, so we've been covering this all night.
Women. Sorry.
So I think, Lee, you've just arrived late to the show, but basically we're trying to figure out, like, what's this guy made of? Like, can he handle what I throw at him? Like, how's he going to respond in this scenario? How much does he value me in his life? Like, how much power do I have in this relationship? We're trying to figure out all of this stuff, because it's these are the tools we have to figure out how we can play you, how much control we have, how desirable you actually are as a man. So all of these things, it's just our way of figuring out the losers from the winners.
It all gets back to Charles Darwin, not origin of the species so much as ascent of man. Women are whatever. They've got 60% less strength in their upper body, 40% less strength in their lower body. Generally, most men can severely hurt most women if they want to. Plus, we have higher testosterone. We're much more violent. Up until a few years ago, violence against women was a big thing. So women have had to develop ways to very subtly and sneakily get what they want from men without triggering violence, often life-ending or hospitalizing violence. So yeah, they're very sneaky and cunning and manipulative at getting what they want and figuring out all these things about men. So we've lost this violence thing, which is a good thing, but women are running rampant with their superpower, spurred on by soap operas and romantic novels and Taylor Swift songs inviting them to do this. So yeah, they're always going to play games, and a good girl, which I suspect Tess is, and there's many good girls out there, they will use it purely to make sure they're investing their time and effort and life in the right guy, and also to keep you on your toes if you tend to drop off. I think I want to finish before 3 hours. I think Steve had one. Can you put that up? If we have been nearly a year into a relationship, but she's still playing test games How should I go about asking what's going on? You probably don't ask. You just need to pass the tests. 96-year-old Dorothy is still running her hubby, Dennis, through all these games, even after 71 years of marriage. It doesn't go away. The second you stop being a man, they start throwing these little tricks and puzzles and games for you to run through. And if you don't run through them, they get a bit nasty. So yeah, it's not going away. The second she's not happy with you, or she's not getting her needs met, she's going to be testing you. So you just got to learn to pass women's tests, learn female psychology, or learn to love the taste of cock. That's basic. Or become a monk, or go to the priesthood or something, or settle for prostitutes, which sounds disgusting to me. It's just not going away. Women get what they want from men through not manipulative, just sneaky, subtle ways of getting what they want. They don't use violence, and they're often not explicit about what they want. So yeah, it's probably not going away. The more you pass them, the less they come up. If there is a cheat code, 2 cheat codes, be really honest and fuck her really well. Because yeah, that gets you out of a lot of the bullshit the rest of the men have to put to. And we teach you how to do that too. I just did my advanced event where we teach that. Anyway, I think we got through all the questions. We'll jump off before we get one more. We love the questions. Thank you so much. They can come a little bit earlier soon. I think there's been a few guys who are great tonight. Stevie, can't remember, I think there's been a Wayne. There's been a few. Thank you, Peter. Anyway, thanks so much to the regulars. Once we start getting these little YouTube lives, if anyone wants to change their life within a month, if they execute and follow through even a little bit, book a link with Tess. And yeah, keep smiling. Tess, do you want to add anything before we sign off?
No, just thanks, guys.
No.
We've gone over time a little bit, but you've asked some really engaging questions. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. The engagement. Love your questions, your comments. It's been a really interesting one tonight. So thank you, guys.
Keep smiling, and bye for now.
See ya.
See you guys.